Hello, everyone out there on our Twitch channel. It's me. It's Nutmeg. And it's
Pig on PC and 4K here with you guys for the Ghost of Tabor launch.
Now, you may notice we're in a little bit of a different location than you're used to seeing us, either when you're casting our games or doing the VREL Esports Report. We're here in this beautiful studio space here at the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida, for this launch of Ghost of Tabor. And we are very excited for what we're going to be bringing for you tonight. First, we're going to be talking to a lot of the content creators that have been getting into Tabor, getting a lot of that pre-alpha footage out into YouTube, showing you what the game's about. We're going to bring them in here and talk to them. And then we're going to go and talk to the dev team. How are you feeling about this, Pig?
I'm feeling pretty excited. We've got a very exciting panel of developers to talk to. And like you said before that, we've got amazing creators here with us that we're going to get face-to-face with and get to ask some great questions.
That's right. We're going to get into their head a little bit, talk about their past, about their gaming past, about their content creation pasts, what they've been getting up to in Tabor, what they're excited to see in the future. So why don't we bring out our first guest?
Let's do it. Let's bring in Z Storm. Hey, Z, welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Howdy, howdy. How you doing today? Excellent stuff.
Let's get that.
Go ahead and throw that on. There you go.
All right.
Excellent.
What's up, guys?
Hey, welcome.
Good to see you. Why don't you tell us a little bit, just to begin with, your background in gaming in general? So gaming, professional gaming, competitive gaming, any of that. What's your background?
Yeah, I started a long time ago, obviously, just with some, basic consoles and, fell in love with gaming way back when I was a little kid, and it translated into seeing the CV1 Rift when it released in like 2016, and I was like, that's the coolest thing to be able to like interact with a game with your full actual body, being able to grab things and do different things. And after playing it for so long, when Population 1 released in like 2018, 2019, something like that, I thought it'd be really fun to just stream it because I wanted to make like some funny moments or something just while I was playing the game, and kind of just all spiraled away from there.
So for you, content creation got started with just having fun in Pop 1.
Oh yeah, definitely. Pop 1 was the way it was. I just couldn't stop playing that game. Had me roped all the way in.
So Battle Royale games like Pop 1, they're kind of this almost like a generator for crazy, zany moments, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you got into some crazy situations playing Pop 1.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of different random moments. You never know what you're going to get, everyone. The same thing happens, translating into Tabor. It's the same excitement of every time you go into a game. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know who's out there. You don't know what you're going up against. And it just makes for a new experience every time.
Speaking of Tabor, let me ask you, what kind of experiences are you excited about seeing in Tabor?
Oh, man. I think one of the coolest things for Tabor is the fact that, like I was saying, there's always somebody new in there, and I've never thought of like a looter shooter in VR. I used to play a lot of Tarkov, and so transferring like that type of style of looter shooter into virtual reality and being able to flip down your night vision goggles, being able to fully hold your weapons and put silencers on, change out your ammunition types, and do all of that and physically interact with everything that's in the game is just it's just mind-blowing. It's the fact that we can actually do that we're at a point in living that we can do that's possible.
That's right. So,
I agree.
Yeah, just the fidelity and all the interactions. I know that you've spent already quite a bit of time in-game for the alpha. Have you already built up some crazy memories? Like, could you share a story?
Yeah, there was a lot of times that we had fun in pre-alpha. It was me, Shortstack, and Mr. Witty playing all the time, and Soul BC jumping in with us. There was a bunch of times where the 50 cal Barrett was kind of broken a little bit in the early days, and it was fun that you could carry a riot shield around and one hand the Barrett 50 cal and just stick it around a riot shield and never die and just keep blasting a Barrett 50 cal into anybody that came towards you. And it's such a crazy, fun memory that just is imprinted in my mind.
Well, that's great. You guys have already started making memories in the game. Let me ask you, do you have any tips for new players?
Watch the tutorial. Everybody's going to skip over tutorials. They always do in every game. And it's different when it's literally any other game other than Tabor. There's so much that goes into this game. Don't skip over the tutorial. Do the tutorial and watch the little VHS tape by Proper D that's next to the coffee maker. Do all that, and you should have a pretty good time in the game. Otherwise, you might get a little upset.
I think that's a pretty fair statement. It's one of the most complex VR games around right now, and it offers mechanics that many players haven't even began to see. So I think you're 100% right that that video is going to be a integral part of a new player experience.
For sure.
Well, I appreciate you so much for coming to talk to us here. I hope that you begin to have even more great experiences in Tabor, and we can't wait to hear about the rest of them.
On your YouTube channel, too.
Yes. I'm excited for the future of Tabor. It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a great time. Well, thanks, Z-Storm. It was great talking to you.
All right, thanks. It was great talking to you as well.
All right. Thank you, Z-Storm. And coming right up after Z-Storm is the person he just talked about, who he had his zany times with in Tabor, and that is Shortstack. Come on up, Shortstack.
Shortstack, welcome. The man, the myth, the legend.
How's it going, guys?
It's great. Glad to have you here.
Glad to have you. Or be here.
Well, excellent. Hey, start us off by just telling us a little bit about your background in gaming.
Background in gaming. I've just been super into gaming, obviously. Mostly survival games and stuff is what I'm really interested in. Like old school, like Rust or let's say Ark, for example, Tarkov. Absolutely. Yeah, all good survival games, DayZ for one. Those kind of just hook me in for a lot of hours, and I just keep playing them. So I'm glad to see that something along those same lines is coming to VR. So especially like the Tarkov-esque when it comes to just having like a good game loop for getting loot and bringing it back to your stash or your hideout, and being able to store it on the shelves and go back in with a decked out loadout, or you go back in and just do your thing as a naked, But it's super fun. That's kind of like, I guess, my background, and when it comes to gaming is just survival games. Got super into survival games, I guess. I should say. Yeah.
So where along that path did you get into content creation?
So getting into content creation, I tried VR for the first time at a friend's house, and it was Beat Saber, and I looked at my wife. I was like, I need to get a headset. So I went and bought a headset, and I worked through getting getting rid of the motion sickness pretty much. And my first in-depth playthrough game was Half-Life Alyx. And there's a part in Half-Life Alyx where Jeff, you have to lock him into a room. So you have to roll up a door and lock him into a room. And I didn't know for a couple days I played the same thing. I was getting so frustrated. I had to look it up eventually, but there was a part when I was trying to roll up the door and time it right, throw a bottle, distract him, and then I'd roll up the door and he's right in my face. And I full sprinted, ripped my cord out of my computer because it was so immersive, and I got super scared at the given time, and hit my face on my safe in my office. So I was like, why was I recording that? So from there, and my background, as I have, I do weddings and videos and stuff on the side. So I wanted to utilize that in a way to just start making content and have fun with it. Whatever happens, right? But
absolutely. Well, let me ask you then, how many memories, or rather, what kind of memories have you been able to make so far in this game, in Ghosts of Tabor?
Tabor is pretty crazy. It's the thing that makes a survival game or anything of that sense, going into a raid and not knowing what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it so unique. Is you go into a raid or whatever it may be, but having VoIP and different scenarios that you're going to run into, different people you're going to talk to, or now I'm at a point technically in raid where I'm just going to KOS every single time, because even if you try to talk to somebody in raid, it just doesn't work out for you. So the memories is just encountering those certain interactions with people, and that's what makes it super fun for me. And that's why I come back to it every time, is the interactions. Even if nobody is around, or you see anybody for a while, looting or taking out the Phoenix and stuff like that, it's super fun. It's really good.
it sounds to me like you'd be probably one of the most dangerous people to run into out there then, because for those of you who aren't familiar, he was just saying that if he sees you, he's going to kill you.
Yeah, pretty much. If I do, I will.
Well, fair enough. We'll keep an eye out.
No trust, no Timmies, no helping out.
No, I mean, there's been a few times, and maybe you catch me on a good day of the week or something, and I'm like, all right, I'll help you out. All right, sounds good. I trust you a little bit, but it's really hard to trust somebody on the other side of the internet. You just gotta do your thing.
Especially in a game like this where you spend so much time looting.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you've already said. So, like, no, even with the aspect of VR, when you can read people's body language, let's say, you don't think you can trust anybody.
Well, I've been waved out a few times in Tabor. And every time I like wave back or like try to engage, they end up shooting back at me.
Okay.
So I kind of, it's hard to, it's awesome. That's why I love VR so much, is because you can see body language compared to any like flat screen game. And that's what makes it so unique, especially VR in general, just being able to see like when someone's confused or puzzled on something you may have said and they tilt their head and you know they tilted their head. That's super cool to me, being able to see stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it great.
Yeah, but no trust anyways.
For sure.
Well, Pancake. I mean, oh my gosh. I always want to call you Pancake because your name's Shortstack.
Totally fine.
Anyway, Shortstack, thank you so much for coming up and talking to us. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
We can't wait to see you in Tabor.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
All right. So thank you again, Shortstack. Watch out for his YouTube channel, Shortstack VR, and you'll see a lot more Ghost of Tabor content coming soon. And up next, we've got AwakenToast. Welcome, Awaken.
Hello.
Howdy,
Guys.
Nice to meet you, too.
See you. How you doing today?
Oh, doing great.
Are you
Doing
excited
great.
for Ghost of Tabor's launch?
What was that?
Are you excited for Ghost of Tabor's launch?
Oh, absolutely, man. Like, it's one of those games that I've just been itching to cover more on the channel. And, like, knowing that it's, like, right around the corner, man, like, the excitement, like, that's an understatement.
Sure.
Like, I've been having so much fun just diving in. Like, whether it's solo runs or even just multiplayer runs, it's been a fantastic experience.
Excellent.
So are there any like memories you can share with us?
Oh,
Zany
memories?
story?
I mean, honestly, when it comes down to a lot of like just Ghost of Tabor experiences, it would have to be like the solo runs. Like there's something about when you dive into Missile Silo and it's so dark and like the tactical feeling of it is just, there's nothing else like it in VR yet. And I don't even know how to explain the words for it. It's awesome.
So do you prefer to go in without gear and try to head snap, or what do you do?
Yeah, usually I try to go in with like some light gear, so sometimes like a Glock 17 or like a Ruger, and just see how far I can actually progress and like how much loot I can take out. Most of the time when it comes down to, using like the big gear and big weapons and whatever else, like, going in with AR setups or whatever else, like I try to stay away from it because I'm still trying to grow my my armory a bit more. But for the most part, there's nothing more satisfying than going in with that low amount and coming out with a big haul. Like,
Absolutely.
It's incredible, man.
Well, how did you get started with content creation?
Content creation, I actually started back in 2012. So it's been about 10 years. I was into the Call of Duty scene for quite a bit. And I did that for about 7 years. And then eventually I heard about virtual reality. And initially I was a little bit hesitant because when it came down to virtual reality, my vision has always been something that's a little bit, on the lower side. So initially hopping into VR is a little bit hesitant. But when I put that headset on for the first time, it was love at first sight. Like literally it has consumed my life ever since I've hopped in. And honestly, it's so cool to see a community that is so tight knit and like so passionate about games, like just games, the technology, and just people all around, like social, like I don't think I could ever say like there hasn't been more of a tight-knit community than the VR community. It's awesome.
I definitely agree with that too.
Yeah, one of the things that I really loved about VR when I got into it, with the Vive, was how small it was, how basically we all knew each other in every Discord server. We could just go from game to game to game, and you could see the same people there all the time. It was like you were all friends and all playing the same games.
And I think a big part of that comes down to the fact, like, you're not just behind a screen looking at a flat screen, like the immersion of seeing someone's body movements and like their emotion, like throughout that. And like now adding full body tracking and all these other things, like seriously adds so much more to the gaming experience.
For sure.
What kind of moments are you seeing? Because you mentioned that you're going out there, you're really enjoying the solo raids, which I love solo raiding too, because that's when you have your heart pounding the most.
Yep.
So what kind of moments are you excited about now that Tabor is launching?
Oh, man. I mean, honestly, I'm just excited to see the skill gap like how much players actually start developing and like what tactics that they actually find and whatever else. Like there's going to be some people that are rush heavy, obviously the people that are super tactical, and just like the gun rigs, like to see what people are running and like, what the heck is this? Like, why is the foregrip here? You know, and like whatever else. Like it's gonna be really funny to both see that, but also like really cool to run into those players and just see how much it grows over time.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Shortstack, thank you so
All
much
right.
for
Greatly
joining us.
appreciate you.
Well, thank you guys.
We'll see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have a good one.
All right. So Shortstack, thank you for joining us. Watch out for Shortstack on YouTube for more Tabor content as well. And I think we have JBar coming in next. GrayWolf, sorry.
Oh, yes, we've
VR
got
is coming in
GrayWolf
next.
coming in next now. Excellent stuff.
Welcome,
Thanks
welcome.
for being here. Good to see you, man.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, chair's running away from you. It happened to us, too. Well, thanks for
Dang.
being here. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are fantastic.
Yeah.
Why? Because Ghost of Tabor is launching.
Ghost of Tabor is launching.
Absolutely.
This is wild, guys.
Well,
I'm glad to be here.
GrayWolf, you gotta clue us in here. What kind of gaming history do you have that led you to here right now at this moment?
Ooh. So what led me to this moment is before VR, I was into MLG. I was a Halo 3 competition shooter. I love FPS. I love hand-eye coordination, you know, looking for the weakest link and pushing. And that all just translated once I got into VR. Once I remember there people showing off VR, and you know there was like Google Cardboard and
Right.
this like lame stuff, and then the Vive got a headset inside of the Microsoft store, and my friends worked there, and they're like, "Yo, come check it out," and I was like, oh, "That's lame. That's for nerds." And they're like, "No, you need to see." And I was like, I came there, and since I knew them, they put me on to Boneworks, and I was like, I put it in because I was like, I seen the blue whale. That looks lame. I don't want to look at a whale.
Sure.
And they're like, no, we got something. And I was like, all right. And I put it in. And I was on Boneworks, just like, oh, reloading the mags. And I was like, I need this. I need this. It was just chills up my body. And I was like, from then I was hooked.
Absolutely. The physical engagements.
Oh, yeah.
That's what really sells VR, I think, a lot of the time.
The physics, yeah. And it's not easy to get. Like, I'm not a developer, but I can tell it's not easy to get.
I'm sure. Absolutely.
I still remember also those early days of VR where it was kind of like tech demo-y, like, oh, look at this shimmering thing. And then finally it took a few games to come out that could really convince people.
Oh, yeah.
Like Boneworks or Alex.
Yeah, it was always a beautiful view, but you can't do nothing. Don't touch nothing.
Right.
Don't go nowhere. Just look at it.
It was experiences before it were games.
Yes, exactly.
So were you content creating that entire time, or was there anything that sort of inspired you to get into content creation?
Yeah, so I did content creating on and off with flat screen, you know, but it's such a big sea of flat screen gamers, you know. It's really hard to compete with how many there are because it's astronomical. And then once the pandemic hit, my career by trade is photography, videography, and I've even done live streaming for companies and stuff. So once everyone was locked in and I couldn't do work, I was like, I'll just use my skills on my own self. So I started doing flat screen a little bit, but I was lost in a sea of flat screeners. And then I was like, oh yeah, we got like a change check. Remember that? Remember? Like the government gave us money or something for
the stimulus checks.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm getting a VR headset. That's what I'm getting. So I got a VR headset, and then I figured out people were actually streaming it, and I was like, no way, I can go, you know, film myself on VR.
So in terms of like the technical aspect, like streaming flat screen, you know, you've got your OBS scenes with your game, you got maybe a face cam. Was there a difficult jump into VR content creation?
Oh yeah, because there's just something about my personality that when I go towards something, I like to go all out and go hard. And once I figured out you could VR stream, I was like, this is sick. We did like two, maybe like how we do it in the style of flat screen with your self green screen. And I was like, this isn't enough because I saw the Beat Saber people inside of it. And I was like, I need games like that. And I started reaching out to people who I know from college who are coders, trying to make my own IP to bring myself into games. Then I found Liv, who actually does that. And then I did all their games, and I was like, I want more. So I was looking for more coders to get into more games.
Absolutely.
I was hooked.
For those of us in the audience that don't know what mixed reality with Live is, you basically have to put yourself in front of a green screen, figure out how to key yourself out of that scene, and also you have to align your camera. I mean, that's a lot of work for every stream you're setting up, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of work, and there's so much things that can go wrong. So many times you have to just stop and breathe and shut it all down and then reboot and go from the bottom. So, like, there's so many, like, wires, so much stuff that has to be synced. You can't just, well, you can do audio straight to the headset, but you never just want that mic.
Right.
You want a good sounding mic. And then the lighting has to be perfect. Sometimes we're by a window, so we have to do it before or right after sunset. If we do it too early, the light will come in, the green screen won't match. It's so much.
So many small details just to get a good looking picture.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of good-looking pictures, I hear Ghost of Tabor is launching. And I got to know, what's your picture of this game so far? What kind of experiences have you had?
Okay, so I've started doing like little tutorials, little tips and tricks. They're more funny tutorials and tips and tricks. Like if you shoot an NPC, that's what I go for first, the Russians, because you can pick them up and you can peek corners. And then if someone just sees movement, they're just going to shoot. So I'll wait for them to empty their clip, and then I pop out and so then they're stuck reloading, and I'm just popping out. Oh, gotcha.
So you're using the AI ragdolls to peek corners.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's a great use of the physics.
Freaking other players.
If they don't know, they're going to learn.
That's right. Well, I would say as far as your tips and tricks videos, you had mentioned that. What kind of tips could you give people right now who might be looking to get into the game?
Ooh, I do have one tip. So once you get into doing some raids, what you're going to find is you're going to be coming back to your safe house with a lot of empty clips. You want to save those empty clips because you can take them with you into your backpack. So when you go to NPC and you don't have a gun, because that will happen, you can throw those empty clips to get their distract them, to make them look away from you. Then you can go up behind them and snap their neck. That sounds really brutal. I've never said that out loud.
I imagine if you took a lot of things out of context from VR,
right,
you could probably sound a little disturbing.
In games. But because if you go straight to the NPCs, they're really good shots, and they like to empty the clip. And if you don't dodge, you're going to die.
So you do the classic distraction and then neck snap. Perfect. Excellent.
So those of you that have been playing a lot of Metal Gear or the kind of stealth games, right? That's the classic trick.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Metal Gear's right in my. You got me right in the.
Right in the heartstrings.
Right in the heart.
I found the origin.
Found the origin.
There you go.
All right.
Well, do you have any other questions?
I don't think I do. GrayWolf,
Excellent.
thank you so
We
much
sure
for joining
appreciate
us.
you, Gray.
Yes, absolutely. It's good to see you
Good
guys.
to see you too.
Hopefully I won't see you out there in Tabor.
Right.
I might be throwing clips at you.
We've got a couple of dangerous people here today.
I think so. We've got some lethal individuals in this room. And coming up next is JBar. So watch out again for GrayWolf VR on YouTube. And if you're out in Tabor and you see a head bobbing around a corner, well, you might know what's happening. So look out for that.
Hold your fire.
Come on out, JBar.
Hey, Jay, thanks so much for being here.
Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Brandt. Jay, again, thanks for being here. Let's get started with just a little bit of information about you. Give us your background in gaming. Let us know how the heck you wound up being here.
Well, of course. Been gaming all my life. I think one of the first ones I really remember loving and playing Mario 64 back in the day.
Yes.
And my brother
Classic.
and I, we were little kids, and we said to each other, like, one day we're going to be in that game. But I never thought it would be this soon. And you're inside of the video game in VR. Like, people don't realize, they think you're seeing some screen. You turn your head and the whole world, just like the real world, is turning. It is the most immersive, amazing thing. And once it started, I was like, I got to be a part of this. It was just so cool.
So in that timeline from Mario 64 to, let's say, would you start with a Rift or a Vive?
I actually started with a Gear VR. So I had already pre-ordered the PSVR 1. Day one, I could pre-order that thing. And then I needed a phone at the time, too. And they were offering to give you one of those free Gear VRs. And I was like, I don't think this thing will be any good. But they said you get a free one. And we actually got 2 of them because my wife needed a phone too. And then guess what? Minecraft was on those. So we play Minecraft together. The draw distance was like 20 feet. Like you couldn't see because it was on a phone. It wasn't powerful, but that was the coolest experience of that together. And after that, I was like every headset, everything I can do. I had the PSVR, the original Rift, now PSVR 2, Quest. I've had tons of headsets and I can't get enough. We have like 7 VR headsets in the house right now. And that's because I give as many away as I can afford to, because I want other people to get in too.
So you don't have a huge, like a collection wall?
No, I know a lot of people do that and it looks cool, but every time I'm like, if I can get one more person in with that old headset of mine, I'm going to give it to them and do it because the collection looks cool, but anyone else that's playing VR, that's what I want. I want the whole world in VR.
That's awesome. That's a really nice principle you got set up for yourself right there.
Yeah, it's fun.
At what point in time did you start making your content?
Oh, wow. It was back in 2019. I had actually been working in management for years, doing really well, buying every VR game and never having any time to play it. And my wife was like, she's super smart. She's like, why don't you take some time off from work? Find what you want to do, find your passion. And during that time, I was like, I always wanted to start a YouTube channel because I watched a lot of YouTubers. I really loved what they did. And I love VR. I had already, even working full time, I counted up, I had demoed VR to over 100 people. There was friends of friends, family I didn't even like. Anyone I could get to come over, I would put them in a headset. And so I was like, you know what? I love this. Why don't I start a channel, just kind of see how it goes? And it was fun, man. It was a lot to learn though, because I'd never edited a video. I'd never done any of that. I was figuring this all out on the fly. But eventually, I loved the PSVR so much, and I had learned a lot on Reddit over the years of how to get it to work better than it did. I made this one video that was like the 10 tips to get the best tracking you possibly can with it, and that really took off, and that's where the channel really got going from there.
Wow, that's great.
I can definitely, I know the desire to share the experience. I mean, a lot of us who got into VR, especially in the beginning, who were either waiting for VR to come from our childhoods or just experienced it and were true believers from the beginning. I know that feeling of just wanting to show everybody, even if they didn't want to get into it.
Yeah,
put this headset on right now.
Yeah,
and I think that it's because VR really allows you to come the closest we've been to sharing experiences with each other. And so if you can just give it to somebody and let them throw it on and see what you're seeing, that's a remarkable thing.
Yeah.
Right. That is the dream. All right, JBar, thank you for joining us. And those of you out there, watch out for JBar on YouTube. We're going to be seeing a lot of shared experiences from you.
Absolutely. Hey, Jay, we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Thanks for coming. All right, and then coming up next, we've got...
Looks like the one and only.
Match Daddy, come on down.
Come on in.
How are you?
Great to see you.
Welcome.
Thanks. How's it going?
All right.
Well, I've put one of these on a few times since I do 4 podcasts a week in VR, so feel pretty comfortable.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have a VR podcast that I started for my own channel, Q2C VR Gamer, about 2 years ago, and that has rolled into 3 other VR podcasts with different people across different platforms, and that takes a huge amount of time to run these VR podcasts. It's really good, but I love talking about virtual reality, and I've had a passion for first-person shooters forever. So when I was able to find Ghost of Tabor and bring them to my community, it was just such a passion to start telling everybody about it and just getting them in there and letting them see what this is all about. It's been amazing.
Have you always been in game journalism?
No, not really. I started a community for VR users about 3 years ago. I've been into VR for about 6 years, and I just wanted to get a place together where people could go to talk about VR and feel comfortable and feel safe. And it grew super fast. Like as soon as Meta and the Oculus headset started coming out, especially standalone with the Quest, we had like 200,000 people in a Facebook group. Wow. Huge, numbers grew overnight, and just so many people. And that kind of launched me into it to the point where now, I've kind of gone fully into VR and that's what I do for a living now is we work for Impact Reality, which helps games and developers show off their games through PR, marketing, and management. And that's why when I played Ghost of Tabor, I said to my 2 partners, we need to be involved with this in some way. And we quickly went to Combat Waffle and said, whatever we can do, we want to be a part of this because this is going to be amazing. So we're so happy to be part of the team.
That's great.
It sounds kind of like you think that Ghost of Tabor has some real uniqueness to it that'll really strike the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So, which is funny for me because I was a Escape from Tarkov fan, and I played religiously every day for probably over a year and a half, like during the COVID period. And that's all I played. And I'm not a flat gamer because I've been into VR for so long. I normally don't play any flat games, always play VR. But this, Escape from Tarkov just hooked me really hard. And I just love this game, and I played it a lot. So when I found a game that was in virtual reality that had the same hook as Escape from Tarkov, I immediately was like, get me in here, let me try this thing. And when I saw how close and this isn't like the best thing close to Escape from Tarkov. This is Escape from Tarkov in VR, and you can't when you can make those comparisons with a VR game and a flat game. Doesn't happen most of the time. Most of the time, the VR games always fall short. This game does not fall short. This is the VR extraction-based shooter game. You just can't find another one like it. And when you see these things, it makes you so excited to be a part of it.
So can you share maybe how long have you been spending in the pre-alpha?
That is a great question. So I have almost 200 hours in the game already, and through Steam, and then probably another 50 hours in the standalone Quest version. And that was done quickly. So like we're extremely busy right now with Impact Reality, and then we're super busy with Q2C VR Gamer, and then all the other podcasts that we do as well. So when I can find time to play virtual reality, and I test multiple games, but when I spend this much time in a game, it's special. So when Shortstack has like 400 hours in the game. That guy's crazy. I can't do that. But literally, like within weeks, I had hundreds of hours in the game already.
Well, with hundreds of hours in the game, have you seen anything of notoriety or anything that you'd be willing to share here as like a exhilarating moment for you that the game's provided?
Yeah, I mean, probably the most fun part is we get into a game with my partner at Impact Reality VR with Jasmine, and it was her first couple of raids, and she was like had gotten in, gotten some good loot, extracted, no problem. She's like, this game is easy. We went in there and we found Shortstack very quickly, and he took her out twice, like right in a row. And she's like, I'm not going back in right away. I'm going to take a break. So yeah, I mean, exhilarating moments when Shortstack is supposed to be your friend and he starts taking your team out. Those are pretty exhilarating moments.
Absolutely.
Plus, you said, don't trust anybody.
No, oh yeah,
exactly.
No way. I mean, especially when they're waving at you, don't trust them.
Oh,
well, Match Daddy, thank you for joining us here.
Hell yeah. Absolutely, it's been a blast.
I'm glad you're so excited about Ghost of Tabor.
Yes.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait.
We can't wait to see you out in there.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again for being here.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, so coming up now, we've got VR with Jasmine, who is also a member of Impact VR. Jasmine, welcome.
Welcome, Jasmine.
BYOC. Bring your own chair, so.
Greatly
Hi,
done.
everybody.
Well, this is the other half, as I understand it, of Impact Reality.
Yeah.
And thank you first off for being here. Tell us a little bit about your history in gaming, because we just heard about your history in Ghost of Tabor with Shortstack.
I want to clarify this. I think this is important. And Shortstack, I knew you were watching. So what happened was I guess co-op wasn't available yet. So we were all in like a Discord chat saying, hey, we're going to meet up together. And so we were like, yeah, I'm in this area. And all of a sudden I'm trying to meet up at Shortstack and he shoots me. Yeah. So I feel like if I wasn't trying to meet up with him, we might have been okay.
But you got betrayed.
I did. He said it was an accident. Was it though? I had some good loot. But my history in gaming, I've spent a lot of time gaming my whole life pretty much. I played a lot of MapleStory, which I don't think a lot of people here know about. And it's an MMORPG, really popular in South Korea. And I don't know, I played a lot of games, but I'm not going to name them all because we're going to be here for forever.
But what were your favorite shooters, at least?
You know what? I'm not normally a shooter type, although I did play all of Borderlands. I freaking love Borderlands.
Nice.
And I played a lot of like Population 1, and now I'm getting into Ghost of Tabor. The reason I'm not really like normally into shooters is because like it's a little like I mean, it's not little, it's very intense. But in Ghost of Tabor, I like that there's like some different play styles. Like you can be very aggressive, very, short stacky, or you could be like me and sneak around. So I like that there's different types of play styles, and that makes it really fun. And I also like it when I am able to sneak around and grab some really good stuff while my friends who have been playing FPS for freaking forever die. It's great. I love it.
So you hang out in the background and let everybody die, collect all of the things, and then you're out of there.
Yeah, I love sneaking around. In any of like the other games that I usually try to play like the stealthy characters. So that's a very fun aspect of Ghost of Tabor for me.
So once again, bringing in the stealth aspect to Tabor.
Yeah.
Are you gonna at least try to get a couple of neck snaps in?
Of neck snaps? Yeah, that's next on my list. I didn't know that you could do that, and now that everyone finds out, everyone's like, I'm gonna do it. But I've been traveling since I found out. Once I get back, I'm gonna do it. I'll report back to you.
All right.
Excellent. Well, so far in Tabor, we heard about the whole Shortstack scene.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, you found your play style, which is slow and sneaky. What kind of moments have you had in Ghost of Tabor so far that have really gotten your heart pumping?
It's usually like, oh man, the whole thing gets my heart pumping. That's,
True.
Yeah, the whole thing is like it's very tense. And it's always like you hear, footsteps or like shooting in the other room. I'm like, man, where is this coming from? The worst is like the little tunnels where you go into and you're just like, it's a one-way road. If they find me, I'm toast. Anyway, infer from that what you will. But yeah, I think the whole thing. Oh, and then the silo with all like the holes on the floor, and that part's really stressful. Yeah, the whole thing's stressful.
Yeah, because you can be seen. If you're not familiar with the map she's talking about, missile silo. There's a portion of it where you're in the missile silo, and you can be walking around a graded floor, and so people on any of the other floors can look up or look down and see you, and absolutely still get you.
There's a lot of areas where it's a little iffy. There's that ladder that you go down, and it's just like, I just don't know who's there, but you kind of have to just go for it. Yeah.
Definitely a lot of places where you feel exposed and in danger. As sneaky as you can be, you still got to move, right? You still got to get that loot.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially because you get need to find an extraction point. So it's not like you can just stay in one place forever and hope that you make it out. You have to move for sure.
And that in and of itself is a whole nother stressful scenario. Just trying to get to the extract point, let alone once you're there, trying to make sure that you can extract successfully.
Oh my gosh. At the extraction points, it's so great. I'm going to use the word great. You go there and you all of a sudden see all this loot there and you're like, oh no.
Right.
Someone didn't make it. Hopefully it's not going to be me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you then, when did you really start diving into content?
Oh, into content? I would say probably high school, but I was doing a very different type of content back then. I wasn't doing gaming content, although I was playing games at the time. Back in the early days of YouTube, it was all about being funny or singing videos, basically. So I did a lot of singing videos. And then I switched into gaming content during the pandemic, mostly because we were all isolated, couldn't go out, obviously. So I got really into VR. I played a lot of Beat Saber. And while I was playing Beat Saber, I was like, I'm going to start streaming this, see what happens. I started streaming it, and I got a lot of people asking me questions like, what are you doing? What is that on your head? How does this work? Why are you in the game? And so, I answered all their questions, but it just happened over and over and over again. So then I started making YouTube videos kind of explaining to people all the questions that they had, and did pretty well. So I was like, you know what? I can help a lot of people get into gaming, into VR, and really be a good, diversity for the gaming and the tech industry. So yeah, that's pretty much where my whole story starts.
Given how open-ended a place like Tabor is, you can just go into this world and be there and do whatever you want. Do you envision maybe doing the old school vlogs that you used to do on YouTube, but in Tabor? I
can totally see that happening. That would be very fun. It's day one of Tabor. I have absolutely nothing, and then just see how it all starts growing. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, we out there in Tabor, y'all.
By the time you get to day 30.
Honestly, and then be like, I'm at the market.
Exactly. I'd love those kind of vlogs. That'd be great in Tabor. That way you can specifically just watch somebody's progression and learn from them.
Yeah, I need a lot of learning to do.
Well, do you have any sort of tips? I've been asking this to a few people, and I'd like to ask you too, because you've had some experience in the game now. What would you say is for you a number one tip to somebody who's just going to be getting in on this with launch coming?
My tips are going to be very, very like beginner friendly because I do a lot of beginner friendly content on my channel. But first, the safe house is your own house. There's no one that's going to go in there and attack you. I was very stressed when I first launched in. I was like, I don't know if someone's going to attack me. Like, I have no clue. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if you put stuff in your storage room, it has to snap into place. Ugh. Don't leave it anywhere because then it'll disappear. So make sure it snaps in. Third is to get out of a raid, find an extraction point, which is just this like green laser lights.
Very good
Excellent
pointers and tips.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jasmine, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Definitely
having
appreciate
me.
you coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to see you.
All right. So that's it for Jasmine. And coming up next will be Skiva. Hi, Skiva. Welcome, welcome.
Hey there. Welcome aboard. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you.
All right, good to see you.
Yes, sir. There you go.
All right, what's up?
Well, hello, Skiva. How do you do today?
I'm great.
Good.
I can barely hear you. I'm going to do this.
Well, Skiva, let's just get started with getting right into it.
Sure.
What's your history?
My history. So I was originally in IT. VR happened. I lost my mind over it. Had to work in this industry. Left everything I had behind, and got into VR. I went to work for a big VR studio, Vertigo Games. Helped launch After the Fall, which is one of my favorite zombie shooters. And then started after that. I started a company with Jasmine and Eric, who should be in here or maybe wasn't here earlier, and called Impact Reality. Now we're helping games find their audience and really just try to lift all of VR, and also an Upload VR correspondent.
Ah.
So did you actually go from no gaming to getting into VR 100%? I got to do this.
Well, I mean, I was a gamer all of my life, right? Obsessed with games. VR came out, and it was just being in the game. It was being instead of watching this character run around on a screen, it was embodying the character, looking through their eyes, holding the gun, dropping the clip. You know, it just blew me away. Still blows me away. And not just for gaming, right? For education, for training, medical, like there's just this tech just, you know, it's going to be amazing. It's going to do unreal things for the world.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely enjoy the entertainment aspect of VR, but being able to have shared experience, shared virtual experience, I mean, the opportunities are really endless.
Yep. They are. You know, COVID hit, right?
Yep.
And I felt like everyone was home alone and like lonely, and I didn't really feel it because I saw my friends every day. We hung out, we had a blast, we went on different adventures, went to different places, all in VR. But it felt like we were really there, hanging out together. So VR is a life hack, I guess.
That's a really no. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean that's an aspect of VR that's not as widely talked about. You hear a lot of people talking about the physical engagements or being able to, you know, like we've been talking about moving bodies and stuff like that. Well, the social aspect is really, I think, what drives most people at the end of the day. I mean, the fact that you can sit there with your friends and be in a face-to-face type of scenario, even when you're across the world, it does help you keep depression and loneliness away.
It does. Now we get Ghost of Tabor, right? Where we can all hop in with our friends, go into a raid together, sneak around, take out other people, snatch their gear, you know, sneak over to the extraction points and get away with some cool stuff or lose everything.
Right. As a team too, as friends, you succeed or you lose as a friend group.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, getting out of there as a team with all of this gear and other people's stuff is absolutely awesome. But then there's also the other side where, you know, maybe some of you or all of you lose all your best stuff. And it's like super defeating, but then you're just driven more to get back in there and do better, you know? So this game is so fun. I cannot wait for this launch. Like people are going to lose their minds for this game. This is going to be I think the most talked about game for the next couple of years. I mean, you know, it's going to be all over the place.
I would definitely concur with that. Without spilling all the beans that players haven't gotten to see yet, there's definitely some aspects of this game that just are second to none.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can definitely see it being long-term too.
It definitely will be.
Is there a story that you can share with us that we've already heard about or haven't heard about, one of your adventures in Tabor?
Oh, so this game is pretty realistic. And I'm not exactly sure all the stories that you've heard so far, but I'm going to just spit this one out. I remember we went in as a team, a few of us that you've talked to here today, and there are all different kinds of weapons in this game, including a riot shield. And I hope none of this is like NDA stuff. So, but this is like a riot shield, right? And these guns, when you shoot them, if they hit walls, if they hit these shields, they ricochet off. Right, and can kill people just like if you were to shoot a gun in a concrete room or something, the bullets fly around.
Absolutely.
We were testing the riot shield, and it was really funny to see if we could pop it through the little glass part that you look through. So I shot my friend's shield, and it bounced off of him and hit Creeper Betty in the face, killed her. We all had so much gear, we couldn't bring all her stuff out. It was absolutely, it was pretty funny, but like, the realism in this game is second to none.
So you were testing a feature and you accidentally killed your friend and then lost their gear.
Off the shield, right into her head, dropped her, all her gear gone. I mean, we tried to carry out a piece each, give back to her. But yeah,
you only got so many
with guns, even in VR, I guess.
And that's another great aspect, is that you have to think about what's on your person, because you can't carry everything. It's realistic in that sense. Yeah, you can only fill your bag. You can only hold, what you can hold in your hands.
And even when you're in VR, gun safety still works.
Yeah,
especially in Ghost of Tabor.
Which is funny too, because the guns do have safety. So you will sometimes come around the corner. You're sneaking around the corner. There's a player there. You can hear him on the other side of the wall. You line up that shot, and right as they see you, you pull the trigger and click. Oh man! And then you get lit up because you didn't turn the safety off. So yeah, very realistic. Great graphics, incredible gunplay. The team tactics and just everything about this game. It's just so sick.
And we're going to talk more about it later on too, but just to throw it in there, the sound design of this game, so good.
Yeah.
Very clean.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is.
I mean, it's one of those things where you're literally listening every moment with just your volume typically close to max for any signs of a footstep.
Yep.
Any signs of somebody talking to their friends.
Yeah. Yeah, you can hear all kinds of things. You can hear when players are even on the other side of the map and they open a really squeaky door.
Right.
And then everyone knows, oh, they're over by the elevator. And you all kind of converge on them. It's really cool. Hear people around the corners, on the other sides of the walls, people going up steps. So when you're playing this game, make sure you crouch, you're quiet. We go in with our friends, right? We want to laugh and have fun. But man, it's going to get you whacked. So.
You're exactly right.
Well, Skiva, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here and sharing your stories. And also thank you to Impact Reality for being so enamored by Ghost of Tabor to support it and bring it out to the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Couldn't be happier to work on a better game.
Well, thank you again for being here.
Absolutely. See you later, guys.
Bye. All right.
So thank you again to Skiva and Jasmine and Eric for coming and joining us. Next up, we've got JBar VR coming out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the JBar. Thanks for being here.
Welcome. Good to see you.
How we doing?
Good.
We're doing great. Get your headset on there and join us here for a fantastic, rousing discussion.
Absolutely.
About Ghost of Tabor.
Happy to be here.
Hey, well, let's get started with a little bit about your history. I mean, obviously, you're streaming, you're content creating, but what led up to that?
Well, I've gamed probably my entire life, always in competitive type games, and I was really into Counter-Strike throughout my younger years and played that on teams, went to LANs, did the really, really competitive stuff, and then VR kind of got a hold of me as soon as I went to a buddy's house and played Pavlov for the first time and dropped into like Dust 2, and it was just, it blew my mind. It was like I was a kid again. The nostalgia just kind of blew me away, so I immediately signed up to get a index, and ever since I've been streaming and just having a blast.
How did you start off with your YouTube channel? What was the first thing you streamed on your YouTube channel?
The first thing I streamed on my YouTube, so actually I started on Twitch streaming, and for VR stuff, it was probably Pavlov. I mean, that's, maybe that might be a recurring theme here. And again, I love Ghost of Tabor, excited to talk about that, but Pavlov is exactly what got me into this kind of thing and kind of led me here. But that would have been probably the first game I decided to stream.
And I love that game too. I mean, personally, that's what one of my first games was in VR. And the CSGO resemblance is definitely there.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember remembering the old Dust from Half-Life, as when Counter-Strike was a Half-Life mod, and then going into Dust 2 in the CSGO version of Dust 2 in VR, it was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, and that's all it took. That's all it took for me to get that bug, and I can't shake it anymore. I'm fully in it.
Well, when it comes to Ghosts of Tabor, what kind of moments have you had in Raid?
So I've had moments that I have to run around like a crazy naked madman because I forgot to bring anything in with me, like a backpack or anything like that. So typically when that happens, I kind of go into what I would call maybe a Seagal moment where you just go in and try to crack a bunch of necks and then see if you can get some loot so you can get the hell out of there. But honestly, I think it's the moments that aren't so serious sometimes that end up being just the most fun with it all, right? Like I really love the competitive part of it, but when everything starts going wrong, like you just kind of got to embrace it and run around and see what you can do. So yeah, those moments when I kind of force myself into that awkward situation where I have to figure out what I'm going to do or I'm just going to die and be done. Those are a lot of the shenanigans I like to get up to, but I've seen a lot of people do crazy things. I know Skiva was just talking about like the ballistic shield thing and all that. And it seems like every time you play, there's always like something like that comes up. They go, oh, I didn't realize that this could be a thing, or I didn't realize that this scenario would just be so entertaining. So yeah,
that's the beauty of having a game like this where it's just so complex. There's so much to it that you can do, and you come up with your own scenarios. You can be involved in your own ways and with your friends. I think you're spot on there. It's all in the heart pounding moments of just
being
not
able
knowing.
to try to talk someone down through the wall if you don't really want to get in a fight in that particular moment. Things like that. There's just so many scenarios that can happen, which just I don't know. It's very expansive. It means years from now, people will probably still be finding new ways to have a good time in it. So
I agree. Well,
so I think
let me ask you one more thing. As somebody who has come from Pavlov, migrated into Tabor now, and seems like having a great time playing it. What kind of tips do you have for folks who are either new to VR or new to Tabor who are looking to be successful as newbies?
I would say don't be scared to dive in. I've had a couple people actually reach out to me and like ask me about it. And they're like, "Oh, how much is it like Tarkov?" And like, how difficult is it to, because I think everyone gets scared when you're bringing in different types of ammo types, when you have all the inventory management, all of that kind of stuff. But some of the reasons that I didn't enjoy Tarkov, even though it's kind of the same, concept in Tabor, in VR, it's so beautifully done that it just feels better. Like I didn't really care for all the dragging and dropping of inventory management and all that, but when you have to physically put it on a wall, you can kind of do it how you want. You can organize it where you want, just like you would do in your own room. Not that everyone has rooms full of rifles, at least several rooms full of them these days. But I think the inventory management and just all the different things that you could do can seem overwhelming, but once you get in the game, it just feels really natural. Once you just start getting in a groove, you'll be flying in no time.
It's a great tip. Don't be afraid to jump in.
That's right.
Jump right in.
JBar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate you. See you next time.
See ya.
Now up next, it looks like we've got a fellow by the name of Controlled Pairs Gaming. Welcome aboard, Controlled Pairs. Come on in. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Joe, man. It is a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for hanging out for a few minutes.
Thanks for being here. Well, Controlled Pairs, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us some of your history.
Sure. So on the content creation side, mostly over on YouTube, got a little bit of an Instagram and a Discord presence as well. Play a little bit of VR, play a little bit of traditional PC games. I'm very much in kind of like the hardcore tactical shooter kind of side of things. And that's where I find myself over to Ghost of Tabor. My audience so far has responded extraordinarily well to it. I think the game is doing a ton right. I'm super excited to see it launch into beta here in the near future, and it's got a ton of potential. I'm excited to share that with the folks who spend their time can watch my content.
It's great. What brought you into VR in terms, like, what was there a specific game that you saw that you had to get into, or was there a specific experience that sort of showed you the light, so
I
to
think
speak?
VR is one of those things where there's an inherent barrier to entry. There needs to be something that entices a player to jump into it for the first time. There's some cost associated with doing it. For me, it was looking for that next, very immersive kind of tactical shooter and first-person shooter, gunfighting kind of simulation experience. Onward was the game that did that for me, and I ended up grabbing a Rift S a couple of years ago. That was kind of my first real jump into it. Since then, I've split my time across regular PC games and VR. Onward was definitely the jumping off point. Since then, I've checked out some indie titles quite a bit, and really kind of Ghost of Tabor is the next major title that is really in line with my interests and where I see just a lot of potential and something I'm excited to get into.
Well, with what you've done so far in Tabor, have you had any sort of moments that have personally made you have like a little mini heart attack? Or
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's the value of the games, right? Like the reason I like tactical shooters is because they're inherently consequential.
Right.
It's not the die, respawn, repeat sort of thing. It makes a player really consider the gear that they're taking into a specific situation. It makes them consider the risk that they're willing to take. And when you then stake loot on the line, and there's now an actual consequence associated with poor decision making or bad play, it increases the adrenaline for sure. And so, some of my earliest PvP experiences, and I laugh about it now, but I found myself running around in the tunnels in Silo listening to Shortstack kind of hunt me and mock me in VoIP at range and kind of just chase me around. And there's this hilarious clip that I actually clipped from his stream and reposted on my socials of him, basically one-tapping me behind a barrel in the bottom of Silos with his M110 SAS, just making it look super easy. But that's the reason kind of Tabor jumps out, is it matters what you take into the fight. It matters, if you're proficient or not with the stuff you take in there. And it's supposed to get your heart racing, and it does that well.
Very
absolutely.
Good. Well, Controlled Pairs, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience with Tabor, and we'll hopefully see you out there in Tabor.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
In one piece.
Thanks, gents.
Thanks.
All right, and I think we've got about time for one more guest.
Yes, indeed.
And it's going to be Techman.
Oh, actually,
I'm sorry.
Looks like we are going to end up having to quite possibly get... Yeah, no, we can get Techman in here.
Yeah,
Heck
sorry.
yeah, let's get Techman in here.
Techman, welcome.
Hey, buddy, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Well, Techman.
So, Techman, you've been on TikTok. Yes. What brought you into VR for TikTok? I mean, in terms of content creation for TikTok, is there anything specific about VR that makes it good for, let's say, that platform?
When I first started off on TikTok, there wasn't a lot of actual VR content creators. Well, if there were, they were only doing the gameplay. So what I wanted to do was build a face for myself in the community. So I kind of came up with the split screen aspect of doing the TikTok format. So you have the gameplay on top, me, the live footage on the bottom. So once I started doing that, I saw that it really just took off. A lot of my videos got, like, my most viewed video has on TikTok is 41 million views.
Wow.
Of me on a catwalk, the VR treadmill. So that's one of my God. So just seeing the culture on TikTok, seeing how it wasn't very heavy on TikTok. I just wanted to be one of the pioneers in the space and take over. Yeah.
And it sounds like you've done it quite successfully.
Oh yeah. It's been quite a journey. I mean, I posted my first TikTok March 9th of 2021.
What kind of games were you doing that you ultimately wound up, creating for TikTok with?
To start off, I would do a lot of RPGs. One of my main games I played was Blade and Sorcery.
Excellent.
So if you've played it before, it takes a lot of skill to control your magic, your powers, to be precise with everything you do. So one video I had where I had a Star Wars mod. I had someone come up to me. I parried their lightsaber. I grabbed them with the Force. I pushed them back. Their lightsaber fell out of their hand. So as they were in the air, I grabbed their lightsaber with the Force of my other hand. I started twisting it in the air, and then I decapitated the So,
well done.
Yeah, so it's one of those. That's one of those videos where I actually repost it literally once a year. So my last repost this year, actually a few months ago, it got 6 million views on a repost.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Must be a heck of a clip.
Yeah, I love it.
So do you have any of these moments that you can remember from Tabor itself?
Man, if I'm going to be completely honest, I've been watching a lot of my content creators, my peers' live streams. I've been waiting for today. I've been waiting for the party. I've been waiting for release to actually get in there. But if I'm going to be honest about their gameplay, I love the fact that you have to individually load bullets. I love the realism. Man, one video, I saw him stop and make coffee.
Yep.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
Like, it's stuff like that inside of these newer games that gets me excited. The realism, being able to interact with everything inside of the game, being able to actually engulf yourself in this environment, in this virtual world, and literally feel like you're living it out. So just watching, I'm excited that I told Turbo, this is gonna be one of our live stream it's gonna be a staple in our live streams, and we're gonna be playing Ghost of Tabor like at least once a day.
Nice.
Every day, at least, yeah.
Is that so that you guys can ultimately just have the largest gun wall of the entire population? You'll just have the most loot.
Yes,
you'll own the marketplace.
We want to be me and my esports team. I want us to be a staple in the community. I want us to take it over.
Cool.
Really every game, but especially this one. Yeah.
What is your team called?
Infinite Esports. So I created a esports team that we launched last year, September 30th, and we've been growing very, very quickly. Yeah, and we focus on athleticism with VR because I'm an athlete and I like the physical aspect of virtual reality. But we've been dabbling in first-person shooters more, and this is one of the games we've been talking about and looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, it'll at least get your heart pumping.
Yes, yes.
And as far as I know, there is a competitive aspect coming, so
yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So watch out for Techman on TikTok as well for Infinite, what was it?
Infinite Esports.
Infinite Esports coming soon. Techman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate you. All right. So looks like up next we've actually got one of Techman's teammates, Turbo.
That's right.
Who'll be joining us.
Turbo.
Excellent. Turbo, come on in. Awesome. How you doing? Good to see you.
Welcome. Turbo, right. So you've been a partner with Techman.
Yes.
Have you also been playing video games all your life, or what got you into gaming?
I've been playing games all my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my life. I can't even think of the first system I played, but I've been playing since Dreamcast.
Nice.
Mortal Kombat, Madden, was it 90? What, 98, something like that? I've been playing games all my life, though, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a throwback right there. You got me remembering Gran Turismo and all those old classics, the first ones in the 90s.
Yes, man. Those are the best games. Those are the best games.
Well, were you competitive at all in all of that, or was it just playing for yourself?
It was competitive. Like, I used to play against, definitely like my friends and stuff like that, in tournaments, playing in Madden tournaments. I used to compete in 2K, like a couple years ago. Like, we was ranked in the nation. But yeah, I love competitive games as well. So, like, yeah.
You just like winning?
It's like winning.
Heck yeah.
I come from a football background. I played college ball, so I've been competing all my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. That translates perfect for video games.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, you're not first, you're last.
And also bringing that athleticism, into VR must be a good feeling.
It is. It keeps me in shape. It keeps me working out. That's one thing I love about VR, that I can be able to keep all sides of my athleticism, working out. I can bring all of that into VR.
Gaming.
It's in game. I get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you used the Catwalk C2s yet?
I have used it. That's a workout.
I imagine
so. That is a
workout.
workout. I love it, though. Yeah, I go over to Tech's house and play all the time.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, what did, I guess for you then, how did you start transitioning into creating content that you would push out publicly?
Well, I've always been a content creator, as in helping people with marketing. So I work with several brands, like creating ads for them, doing photography for a brand. So pushing out content it was kind of easy to make the transition. Because I've always been streaming on not TikTok, but Twitch. My Madden games, being in the Madden leagues, 2K.
Okay.
So transitioning into VR was easy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very natural.
It was natural. Yeah. I just had to find the love and the passion for it, and it came so quick.
So have you been in Tabor yet?
I haven't. I've just been watching a lot of the streams and watching the videos. I've been ready to play it though. Ready to get the full access of the game.
what do you envision the future of Tabor is going to look like once we have full on players 100% in there? And what can you envision for the future of this game?
I can see it being, in a good way, very chaotic. Like, I can really see it, like, so much chaos. So everybody trying to loot, get all the good stuff, all the good gear, all the good guns. That's what I like about it. It's really going to bring the competitive side because, like, I want to have the best loot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to have everything.
And every team out there is going to be trying to get it from everybody else.
Exactly. But they got to come across Team Infinite, so it's going to be kind of, you know.
I love it. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you never know. Somebody could be sneaking low and slow, or you might just be running and gunning.
You know. We're gonna set it up. We're gonna definitely set it up. We're gonna talk to tech and get us a good strategy, so
idea.
We can dominate.
Can't wait. Oh, we're gonna have to put Shortstack out there against you guys then.
We love competition.
Absolutely.
We've heard a lot of stories so far about people encountering Shortstack, but I think soon we're going to be hearing a lot of stories about people encountering Infinite VR.
Oh yes, most definitely. And we also hold a tournament, so yeah. So we love the competition.
Well, cool beans. Do you think that this style of survival shooter is something that, you know, as it grows here, do you think that that's something that's going to eventually start taking over the market? I mean, the ability to keep your athleticism while...
Most definitely, it's the future. It's really the future. If I can put it in the lead of, like, you have the NFL, college football, XFL, that's how I look at it. It's in its own league. You know, it just brings a better aspect of shooter games that you can really get in depth with. And then, like, you bring your athletics ability, a part of it, it's crazy. Like, 'cause you have to have some type of skill to be able to do all this.
That's right.
So if you don't have the skill, you know, but you have the skill and you be able to bring all of it in one, you got a whole nother league. It's out of here.
VR esports aren't going anywhere, folks.
No,
they're here to
stay.
Right.
We're here.
All right, Turbo, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you again.
Yes, sir.
And watch out for Infinite VR when Tabor hits pretty soon. Thank you.
All right. Looks like up next we have Alex VR coming in to join us. Alex, thank you so much for being here. How you doing today?
What's
Thanks
up,
for joining
gentlemen?
us.
How we doing?
All right.
We're
We're
having a
excited
fantastic day.
for Ghost of Tabor, and we're excited to talk to you, of course.
Yes. Well, I'm excited to be here. This is a pretty awesome setup that's going on right now. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, we're definitely thankful for Full Sail for hosting us here. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, your gaming history.
Well, you know, like everybody else up here, I've always been a gamer and an avid gamer at that. You know, I was born in 1987, so, you know, I kind of missed the Atari era, but when I was old enough to play a Super Nintendo, my parents got me a regular Nintendo. Probably got it on sale or something, you know. So I actually was able to get that chronological history of, like, at least the Nintendo side of gaming as a kid. So I had the NES, the Super NES, N64, and all the way up. I've played it all. You know, I kind of saw VR coming when I started messing around with the Nintendo Wii a little bit. For those of you out here who have had a chance to kind of do some modifications to your Wii, it's actually pretty easy. Like, I would just pop an SD card in the front of my Wii, run some programs on it, unlock it, do a bunch of cool stuff. And I saw some YouTube videos where some people had re-engineered the sensor bar and the Wiimote. They put the Wiimote where the TV was and put the sensor bar where their head was.
Right.
And they created a head tracking display on the TV using a Nintendo Wii. And that got me thinking. And I was like, oh my gosh, like one day I'm going to actually be able to detach my gun from my chin, you know? Because, like, if you're, like, peeking in a first-person shooter on a flat screen, you basically, for all intents and purposes, have to put your entire body around the corner to look around the corner. And when I realized that I'll be able to, like, lean back and, like blind fire around a corner, I was like, this stuff is going to be cool. And I didn't really realize that it was going to be VR. But once I saw VR happening, it was kind of a no-brainer for me. You know, I did some demos and got into it. And, of course, just like anybody else who you guys have been interviewing today, it pretty much changed my life.
So what was the experience that actually made you say, all right, I'm doing it, I'm buying it?
It was, you know, it started with a PlayStation VR demo at a Best Buy, and I was the only one there. So, like, I popped the headset off after doing some of those PS VR Worlds demos, and I popped the headset off, and I was like, okay, that was really cool. Can I please do another one? You know, and they're like, yeah, go for it. Nobody's here. So I kind of ran through that demo disc, and I loved it, but I knew that there was like the multiplayer aspect that I really wanted to see what was going on with. So I actually bought some time at a VR arcade, and I got there and I was like, listen, just put me in a multiplayer game. I don't care what it is. Like, I just need to see what's going on in multiplayer. And they're like, dude, are you sure? Like, we have one, but the graphics kind of suck. And like, we have some really cool stuff here. Like, are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yes, do it. And it was Rec Room. And I went into Rec Room, and I load in to the Rec Room, and there was the box boom, pops up in front of me. And I grabbed the zipper tag and boom, pop it open. I'm like, no way. And like, I grabbed the shirt. I'm like, is this going to work? Yep, it worked. Boom, shirt went on me. And there was actually some little girl who was probably too young to be in VR who was watching me do this. And she's like, whoa, cool. And she goes for the high five. And I'm like, I did the high five, and I felt the haptic vibration in the controller. And that was it. I was like, I just high five someone across space and time. And this is the technology that allowed that to happen. And that was it. I went and acquired a PlayStation VR. And ever since then, I've just been gathering as much VR stuff as I possibly can.
Well, have you gotten to dive into Ghosts of Tabor yet?
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have. And it was pretty awesome. I fell from a ladder. So grip those ladders, people, because they're slippery. All right.
They definitely are.
Yes, I have. And I had a really good time. You know, I jumped in there with a bunch of my friends, everybody who you've seen here, great friends of mine, you know, had a chance to play with them. And we had a really good night. There was a lot of awesome stuff that happened. But I will say, before going in there, I actually jumped into a Discord channel with everyone, because that way we can always kind of stay in touch and communicate the whole time. And I found that actually kind of took away from the experience for me a little bit, because there's like 10 people going in my ears the whole time. And I'm like trying to listen for like footsteps and like people like banging their guns off of walls and stuff. And if I was going to give anybody advice going into the game for the first time, I would say skip the Discord call. Right? Like, go pure immersion here, like listen, like get in there, you know, and like let the tension of the game kind of shine through, because games like this one, and especially Ghost of Tabor, there's a lot of tension there, and there's like, it's high stakes, you know what I mean? So that would be, next time I go in there, I'm definitely not joining a Discord call with anybody.
So even if you go in with a squad, 100% rely on in-game audio.
Yes. Like the proximity stuff is absolutely crucial. I agree.
That's one of my favorite aspects as well, is the fact that you can lean over and say, hey, let me tell you something real quick. And you got to watch your volume, because you don't want to be heard by an adversary.
You know, I always wonder like what you can get away with, right? Because a microphone is almost binary in a way, you know, like there's either an input or not, you know? So it's like, is my whisper just coming through really loud? You know, it's like a loud whisper, or is whispering actually beneficial? Like, will that really prevent people from hearing me if I keep my voice down? Like, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe you guys can tell me.
I believe currently there is not a fall off. So the further away, the lighter it gets. I'm not 100%. I believe that's the case.
Yeah, we're going to need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, we will get to
know
the
if
bottom
I can whisper or not.
It's we'll have to ask the devs.
I want to say, yeah, that's exactly right. We'll have to ask the devs here in a little bit.
So, I mean, we've talked about your gaming history. We've talked about what you like to do in Tabor. But in terms of content creation, have you always been, throughout your gaming history, creating content? Or is there something about VR, let's say, that made you say, I got to share this with the world?
Absolutely. 100%. You just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
You know, I think I always knew that like I had it in me to make content. You know, like when I was growing up, I did like drama and stuff like that. So like, you know, I was no stranger to a microphone and a stage. You know, I was a musician for a lot of years too. But yeah, there's something about VR, and really, I think it was the fact that like no one knew. You know, like I put on this headset and it blew my mind, and I'm going around like looking for people who get it and finding none. And that's kind of what led me to believe, like, maybe I'm here ahead of the curve here. Maybe I can make an impact. And I used to play on PlayStation VR a game called Firewall 0 Hour, which is a tactical first-person shooter, not quite like Tabor, but, you know, some similar elements. And there was a YouTuber, PSVR Frank, who got hired by First Contact Entertainment to be a community manager. And I was like, like, you can become a content creator and then find a way to actually contribute to the VR industry, to a game studio, to any of this stuff. So that really, really inspired me. And I bought a camera and started going to events like Oculus Connect 6, I think was the first event that I went to. And I just selfie stick, microphone, walking around, boom, getting into interviews with everybody and just like rubbing elbows with everybody and just like doing everything I could to be a part of that. After a while, Skiva, who was on earlier, we became really good friends. And then we started a podcast together called Between Realities. Right. And that's kind of been like my main contribution in terms of content creation in the space since then. We always have guests on our show, and we do 90-minute episodes, like deep dive interviews, learn about the people who help bring all this amazing technology to all of us.
And hopefully we can see some Ghosts of Tabor on your show soon.
Yes. Well, play, if these guys play their cards right, we might be able to work that out. We'll see.
Well, with Combat Waffle making this game, what kind, and you having such an immense history and talking to folks, rubbing elbows, getting to know the people behind it, what kind of stuff can you really see happening here? I mean, do you see some amazing futuristic features coming in? What kind of stuff would you like to see?
I would like to see a strong and healthy and passionate community. Like, that is where I think the biggest opportunity is here. Multiplayer VR games it's a scary place to be, I think, for a lot of developers, because you need people in that game to survive. That's all there is to it. Like, if somebody buys the game, they go into a lobby and nobody's in there, it's going to die quickly, and thankfully, I think Ghost of Tabor has done a really great job of harnessing the potential there and like building a strong community and getting people excited about the game, especially for flat screen gamers who like this genre, who are starting to realize the immersiveness that VR can really bring to the gaming experience. So I think the opportunity here is a really strong, passionate community of gamers who love the game, who love the community, and who always go in there and play together. So, and also it being a Quest title, I think is huge. I actually just found out it was on the Quest, because when I played it, it was the PC version, so I was like, okay, PC game, cool, I'm into that, but I just found out like a couple days ago that it's actually launching on Quest. And launched or launching?
It's coming.
Currently launching.
Coming.
Yes.
It's coming. It's launching. Like, as we speak, it's launching. So that's amazing. Quest 2 owners being able to pick up a game like this and have like a deep dive, tactical first-person shooter, I think there's a real opportunity here, and I really would love to see it succeed.
Well, all right. Well controlled, Mr. Pears. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you again for being here.
Of course.
All right. So coming up next, is Creeper Betty.
Yes, Creeper Betty VR. Hop on in here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Miss Betty, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here, for sure.
Hey, why don't you
get that headset on first?
Beautiful headset on, then we'll start chatting.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, hey, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah.
So we've heard a lot of stories so far about people's gaming pasts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have also a long and storied past of gaming?
Oh, yeah. I've been gaming since I could, since arcades, putting the quarters or the tokens in. You get that 5 tokens for $1 or an extra 10 tokens for $10 or whatever.
In the back of Cece's Pizza.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Those kind of things. And then, it just, my passion is anytime I could get my hands or, around a controller or on a PC like the Commodore or, Atari, I would always be there. And then when I got older, I fell in love with The Sims and had this dream that I wanted to help build video games and, work for Maxis and Will Wright and, and do amazing things with The Sims. But then, life happens and you carry on and you go down a career path and you're successful at it. And you're just like, but you still have the passion and the love. Like, I still made sure I always had that PS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, working my way up. And, so then, I started buying those little box,
the cardboards?
Yeah.
Google
Well,
cardboard?
no, not the cardboard. I never got to the cardboard. Just the ones that are off the shelf, the plastic ones. You put your phones in.
Right.
And it just wasn't doing it for me. And so my daughter and I, we went to GameStop and I saw a PSVR there and I'm like, I'm getting that. And she's like, Mom, I heard it's not that great. I go, it's got to be better than what I'm, and I've already put in so much money in these 3 things. So I bought it and that was it. That's all she wrote. I fell in love with it. And then I found a really great community through PSVR Without Parole. And they were very welcoming and I always had somebody to play with. And there wasn't a lot of multiplayer games. So I just started a little YouTube channel to, you know, have my friends come and visit me while I was playing some game. And then it just kind of elevated from there. You know, I was still stuck in cells, dialing, smiling, you know, renewing contracts and everything. And then COVID happened, and that is where a lot of magic happened in VR. And I, you know, getting together with people and communicating and partying and having a good time. And then, you know, losing the jobs and getting a new one, losing a job, getting a new one because of COVID and all that good stuff and trying to get back on it. And then the last time I lost my job last year, I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to dial and smile anymore. I said, I want to get a chunk of the VR industry. And so I just kind of meshed what I did in VR and with what I do with my career. And I ended up having 2 really amazing choices to go to. And so I went with Cluj Interactive as a 3D artist. Wow. So now I'm in the industry. I'm absolutely just floored every day. It's been 7 months. It feels like 3 months, and it's been like forever since I picked up a phone and dialed and smiled. So,
can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on with Cluj Interactive?
I kind of can't.
Okay, all right, understood. Sounds good.
Right now,
there's no disclosures. Absolutely.
Yeah,
but did you have a background in 3D modeling and
I'm learning 3D modeling.
Okay.
So, yeah. So there's other types of modeling you can do out there in the metaverse type thing. So I work on a well-known social platform. I can say that. Mm-hmm.
Well, very cool. Have you gotten much time in Tabor yet?
Yes, if you look at Steam, I clock about a little over 200 hours.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay, so you've been in there for a while.
Yes, yeah, I have been in there for a while. Skiva gave me a code, and I went straight in and fell in love with it. You know, and I know a lot of people out in the community are very much looking forward to it, or are in there now, that are just so excited about the game. It's going to be a game changer, per se.
What's most exciting for you about Ghosts of Tabor? Like, what's your favorite aspects?
Is going to the extraction point and leaving with a handful and just a backpack full of stuff, you know, to collect. Sure. Yeah. And then completing the missions with the vendors as well. I have a good time, you know, because I want to get some good gear without having to sacrifice myself or the good gear I already have.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So that's a big goal of mine.
We haven't heard that mentioned yet. That's a great note. Yeah. The Tabor missions with the traders, that's a phenomenal aspect of the game that hasn't even been mentioned yet.
Yeah, you have to build your reputation up with the vendor. You can do that by trading or completing their missions that they have on the mission board, or just by, you know, selling maybe some extra guns or, you know, equipment or things that you have. And the more you build up, the more they're like, hey, I've got this, you know, gun for you. So, because right now when you go in there, you just get the basics and you just see the ghost of what could be.
So in terms of like that, building up that kind of stuff and getting started, would you have any tips for any new players getting into Tabor? Would you say just pick one vendor, try to grind with that vendor, get the reputation, get all the weapons that vendor can give you, or do you spread it out a little bit?
I spread it out a little bit. I go for ammo, armor, and bullets. So, or the guns, the guns. And so those are the 3 that I like to focus on. Because I want to build my reputation up. I'm not too sure exactly what the medical lady does. She wants a lot of water. So, but like, I just give her water. I don't know what her benefit is quite yet, because I think that's still growing.
Yes, that's what I think still being expanded too.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're right. 5 water bottles, then you can grow with the medical vendor.
Yeah, and I love collecting spoons. I always have to have a spoon. Like, spoons are my thing. I don't know why.
Is your safe house just full of spoons?
It was at one point, and then it got wiped out. Oh, but yeah, because I'm kind of a rat. I'll go in solo. That's why I have so many hours. I go in solo, and I just I'll find a place to hide, you know, and because there's some sweaties out there.
Right.
And then I'll wait till I don't hear any more shooting, and I'll go in and just clean up. But my walls were full, my shelves were full, my cupboards, you know, or my lockers were full. So,
hey, it is a looter shooter, right?
Yeah, it is, and you got to do what you got to do. You know,
more looting than shooting.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fine.
Yep.
Well, do you personally have anything that has happened to you in Tabor that you could recollect on here with us while we're live, that you could talk about, that really either shook you up or made you realize, golly, this game really is something special?
Yeah, I guess I'll say his name, but I think it's Mickle Y2 VR, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He made a couple little skits about me. I thought we were friends, and we're like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's got this goofy little voice going on. I'm like, "Whatever." Find a backpack, and I'm crouched down. I'm like, "Hey, dude, I got a backpack. You don't have a backpack. Let me give you a backpack."
Yeah.
And he's like, and the next thing you know, he turns around and he's in this deep voice. He's like, "Give me your backpack." And I'm like, "Well, here, take the backpack," you know, and I give him the backpack. He goes, "No, give me your backpack." And I'm like, "Wait a minute here." And then an NPC runs by, starts shooting at him. So I start going, and he shot me in the back. I was like, really, you know? And then he picks up my body afterward for Creeper Betty Part 2 and starts, schooling me and saying, "You better listen next time, woman." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But in my, you know, since then, Mash and I, we were in there, and we were in the garage, and I was behind a wall, and he's over here, Mickle is, and Mash is over here. He shoots Mash. He didn't realize I was behind the wall. He comes by to pick up his stuff.
Nice. So you got your payback.
Revenge.
Oh, and I got all his good stuff.
Nice.
And I've done it twice so far.
Oh,
so,
snap.
Yeah.
Okay.
You better be watching
Don't
out.
get on our bad side.
Just be careful who you backstab in Tabor,
Right.
because it might be coming back to you before you know it.
Right.
That's right. You never know who's hiding in the shadows.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Betty.
No shame in being a rat.
Well,
Perfectly
Creeper Betty,
creepy.
Yes.
thank you very much for joining us
Well, thank you.
and sharing your stories.
Yeah,
Absolutely great.
absolutely. You guys have a wonderful evening, and thank you again for this
Of course.
opportunity.
Thank you for being here.
All right. So,
Well,
speaking of, Justin Weeb, come on out.
Justin, ladies and gentlemen, good to see you. Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Welcome. Glad to be here. Let's jump on. Everybody before me was like, "Hey, well, be careful for these microphones because you can hear yourself really, really well, but I can't hear any of the questions. So I don't know if go ahead and talk for me. Let me hear."
Can you hear me now?
Oh no, it's awful. Okay, there we go. Right, just like this. So
there you go. 1 year out.
Super excited to be here, you guys. So this is like one of my first times doing one of the broadcasts and doing a game launch. So I'm super excited to kind of see the whole process. So
well, walk us through it. Tell us a little bit about who Justin is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have loved being in the VR space. I got into it. Believe it or not, I feel like kind of the young buck in the space, because as soon as corny as it is, when Mark Zuckerberg released, "Hey, we're changing to Meta," I was like, "Oh man, I got to get into the space." And I had a Rift back in the day and Oculus, and I had the classic thing where you put, your phone into the VR glasses. And I've always thought this space was cool, but we had stuff blow up on Horizon Worlds. Me and shout out to Peanut. We need to get him back on the thing. He came out and we had a whole interview about people making money in the metaverse, and that blew up. And ever since then, I've been pretty consistent with making VR content and being out at CES and PSVR and Oculus and everything. So I've loved the space, loved getting to know about games, and just meeting everybody, especially here at the launch. It's just cool to see the VR community come together. And yeah, man, it's been awesome.
So not to put you on the spot and have you say Ghost of Tabor is your favorite game.
Oh, man. So, and it's funny because I was talking to everybody in the back, and even Betty is like, "Oh, I got 200 hours. I am here for the launch, which means I have not played yet.
Okay.
So I'm here. I'm ready. It's been really cool to just see, for me, what's been impressive so far is just not only just the marketing, but the graphics behind it, the community that they're building. Right. So I'm super excited to see it continue. It's funny. I gotta call out. I know that Techman and Turbo, they're building a league, and they got a team Infinite. And I think we're going to start playing each other. And we VR, we're going to start our own esports league. And bro, they in Atlanta, they think they're hot. They think they're going, bro. But we'll see. We're representing Austin, Texas. So
okay,
yeah, we'll see what we can get going on. So
Austin versus Atlanta.
Yeah,
esports.
bro, it's gonna be tight. Yeah, it's gonna be tight. So
all right, so you're seeing it here tonight. Shots fired. The call outs have already begun.
Yeah.
for the competitive
Absolutely, yeah.
scene of Ghost of Tabor.
Techman, Turbo, bro. You guys are going down, bro.
Oh man, I don't know if I saw for a second there. It looked like Techman was ready to rebuttal.
Oh man, is he out here, bro?
I don't think we've
Don't
got a
let
mic
him on
for
stage.
though.
Don't let him on stage.
Let's
No,
keep
don't let him
Let's
on.
keep it
No.
friendly out here.
No.
No, yeah. Well, that's awesome though. I love hearing the competition, and like we were talking about earlier, it's all about building community. And so,
Absolutely.
really, at the end of the day, I mean, it's all jokes and giggles. Like we're all out here just to have fun and compete.
Yeah, watch out, watch out.
Well, with that being said, I don't know exactly how much you've seen in Tabor yet, but have you seen anything that's really stuck out to you as somebody who hasn't played the game yet?
Yeah, well, I definitely feel like, again, kind of going back to the community and building up just kind of a user base that is going to consistently come into the game. I feel like with VR, what a lot of times that I have is there's certain games that you get really excited about it on the forefront, and it's like you got 1 or 2 days that you're like addicted to this game. But then it kind of fades. So what I'm hoping with this game is what I thought was exciting was that just like a lot of the big games here that are going on, whether it be like Modern Warfare 2 or the classic Fortnite, is you have these seasons and it's like you wipe everything and then you restart.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a really cool mechanic that keep people coming back into the game and wanting to restart. So that's something about the game that, at least from, again, as compared to everybody else, I guess I'm a newbie. So,
Sure.
But as far as I'm concerned about the mechanics, I thought that was really cool to kind of get people into it. So,
Heck yeah. Give you a constant reason to play.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's been awesome sweeping up with everybody and just meeting everybody and just getting to know. So I appreciate you guys just coming out here, having a launch party, getting the community together. I really appreciate it. So,
And we are definitely looking
Great.
forward to seeing you out there. In the competitive
absolutely.
scene.
Hey, man, we'll tear it out. So looking forward to it. Have a
All
good
right.
rest of your night, guys' night, and enjoy the game. So, and everybody, let's play the game. Let's get the community together. So love to see it.
All right. All right. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here in this beautiful studio space. And we're going to get ourselves to join the rest of the team, the rest of the Tabor team, and to continue this launch party in the Orlando Health Fortress. So right now we're going to see, as we get ourselves over there, we're going to play for you a trailer for Ghost of Tabor. Right now, check it out.
All right, everybody, are you excited or what?
That didn't sound like you were excited. Let's hear it. Are you excited for Ghost of Tabor? There we go.
All right, hello, everyone. I am Nutmeg.
And I am Pig. Pig on PC and 4K.
And we are your hosts of Tabor for tonight's Q&A session with the development team here.
And we've got an amazing, amazing group right here, ladies and gentlemen. We have an ambitious project, which has been successful so far, I think, on every account. Guys, I cannot wait to talk to you guys, ask you a few questions. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have a few questions from the audience as well.
That's right. So Pig and I are going to be asking the dev team some questions here, talking about themselves, talking about the game, what they want to see about it. And then we're going to open it up for you all. You can see we've got some microphones out here. So when it's time, come on up. And if you've got a question for the dev team you want to ask, come on up and ask. Okay, so right now what I want to do is introduce everybody that we've got up here for our panel. So first up, we've got Scott, who is a CEO. And then we've got Ray, the Chief Development Officer. Jonas, the Chief Technical Officer, excuse me. Duncan, who is the Chief Media Officer. And then we've got the Brian, who is on the media team as well. And then we've got the developers as well, Bash, Patrick, and Elijah. So let's give a hand for the development team.
So to get us kicked off, I thought I would just ask everybody here, whoever would like to answer, feel free to share. With such an ambitious project, there's got to be some challenges. What's been some of the challenges you guys have faced, if anything?
There's been a lot of challenges in this project. We had a very short amount of time, a lot of ambition, most of the technical challenges, I'd say, was getting this to run on all of the headsets that are out there right now. And I think with such a great team, we've managed to accomplish that, to overcome that challenge. And we will continue to just keep making it better. Yeah.
I imagine even with the huge diversity of headsets that are still coming out, right? We've got the Pico that came out recently, and now there's the new headset from the creators of Big Screen. Is this still sort of like keeping you on your toes? Are you like, oh, we thought we were done, oh, then there's another headset, and now there's PSVR 2, and now there's the Pico. Is that keeping you up at night?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we actually just ordered, the other night, 2 new headsets that went to Patrick's house. And they're not even new. They're from I feel like they're from 1990. But they're WMR G1 headsets, and the controllers weren't working. And we managed to get some on eBay, and Patty got them knocked out, and players can play now. But I think Ray's got almost every headset on the face of the planet at this point in his office. So
too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny enough, you mentioned Ray there, Scott, and Ray, if I'm not mistaken, you have some history, I believe, in the hip-hop world? Is it possible that we could... Hang on. Yeah, I think we have a video available.
Right.
Let's see.
This is ancient history.
Perfect.
No more.
No more.
Playing.
Oh.
And it's queuing up here.
Oh, there it goes. Here we go.
Oh my.
Move that body round and round. Don't stop, girl, just tear this motherfucker down. Everybody up in the club, know we in it now. Don't stop now, the DJ's gonna air it out. Left, right, oh yeah, go ahead and let it out. That's right, who's here, go ahead and spread it out. This bounce, oh yeah, you got me staring out. One drink, hell yeah, I think I feel it now. Move to the bottom, then come to the top, yeah. No need for problem, cause I'm from the blocks, yeah. If you roll with me, go ahead and bop, yeah. It's Major League, yeah, you know niggas right here. Now move it round and round until you out of bounds. Pop, lock, drop, shop, now take it out of town. Who gives you how the sounds? Coming with that Prada pound. Bada bing, bada boom, maybe just put it down. Everybody in the club, if you dancing tonight, throw your hands in the air if you feeling right. The party got you going if you moving tonight. Major League, and you know we gon' make it hot in here, here, here. It's getting hot in here, here. We make it hot in here, here, here. It's getting hot in here, here.
I only come out for 3 things in the night. The ex-wife, some drinking, no blunt to get high. No seat, no stick, so everything's right. I see a lot of girls and they all so fly. Hey, mommy, see I like the way you shake it, girl.
All right. I think that's probably plenty of history there for Mr. Ray. Let's give a hand of applause for Ray. That was awesome.
I was actually thinking, of stopping being a developer and going back to that, Scott.
You were pretty good.
I applaud you for pursuing your goals.
I think the
that's all
crotch
development.
crowd was my favorite.
Well, I have another question for anybody who would like to answer here. What part of the game are you most excited for the world to see? Any feature, anything about this game?
I'm excited for the future DLC, which is called the proper DLC, where you'll actually get to be able to put on his skin and run around Tabor, and you get to shoot proper, which will be great.
I'm excited.
I don't know what to say. It's just insane to think that that's going to happen, but apparently it is.
Just to sort of piggyback off of that, we know that those of us who have been in the pre-alpha and had a good time just exploring this huge world, I mean, the amount of detail that you've all put into this world is amazing. And obviously we have a lot of choices of what we can do in there. Do any of you have any desires of what you want to see players do when they get into Tabor? What are you waiting for them to do? And what do you want to see?
I feel like Elijah wants to say.
Cold-hearted betrayal. That's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, as we were just talking to the creators back there, we saw a lot of trust issues, I think, came out.
At least 2 or 3.
Right.
I can't count how many times I watched Shortstack on stream just kill his buddies and then laugh about it afterwards. So,
bringing out the best in people.
You have a history of that too.
I do not know.
We would be testing. Just a regular day. We're testing the build. We're in a circle by Sector 6 talking about this performance issues, and the next thing you know, black screen. I one-tapped your dad. Killed you.
Grenades were readily available, yes.
Dangers of having dev meetings in Tabor. You have your boss coming around with the corner with a gun. Trigger happy. Speaking of, okay, so, when you have the boss sneaking around you want to hear him sneaking around so he don't shoot you. In games like Escape from Tarkov, which we know is a big inspiration for Ghost of Tabor, there's a lot of sound, right? Everything you do in that game makes a sound. You reload your weapon, you pull something out of your pouch, you do something in the inventory. Are we going to see this in Tabor as well? Are we going to see everything you do make a sound? If I really want to be stealthy and I want to be not heard by anybody, how still am I going to have to stand?
I really think you're already starting to see that, right? I mean, just a couple weeks ago, Ray programmed to where now bushes, trees make noises when you're just brushing past them. You even have environmental noises such as mosquitoes buzzing each side of your ears if you walk past a patch of them. The guns, everything makes a unique sound. Your backpacks make a unique sound when you move. And your character will eventually, you're about to see the stamina as you're running. We're programming right now. So as you're running, you're making a very unique breathing sound while running all the time, the whole time you're sprinting. When you're out of stamina, it's no longer just like one breath out. It's multiple breaths and quickly until you recover your stamina completely. And I really think we want to bring as much realism that you experience in real everyday life of exercising, working out, running. I can tell you myself, controlled pairs of running with kits on for whatever God reason we did it for. We know what that's like, and that's something I want to bring to these players so they can have those experiences.
This also kind of extends to the AI too, because currently you can throw a mag against the wall and they can hear that. There's so many sound cues that that tie into the player, but also the AI.
So in terms of creating moments for the player to do or figure out how they're going to navigate these patrols that are coming through their whatever corridor that they're trying to take over,
right?
You have a lot of freedom of how you can get their attention.
That's right.
Well, with games such as Ghosts of Tabor, you can definitely expand a lot on betrayal, right? But what I'd like to ask you guys is, in games like DayZ and Arma and Rust and these other games which historically divide players into being heroes and bandits, what do you guys expect out of the community as they begin to develop that uniqueness to each person?
I think naturally, like, as people run into each other, at least as I've experienced it, like, there's been a lot of times, especially with a game that has VoIP in it, right, where you can run into somebody, you don't know that person. You're in a game where you're supposed to shoot each other, but somehow you just end up making a friend there, right? And it's quite funny because then you'll run into the next match and someone will wave and you'll be like, oh, it's a friend. And then he'll just shoot you in the head. So it's quite an interesting thing. I mean, I think the good thing is that we have a Discord where people can group up together. And there they can form their friends. And I imagine that after enough betrayals, they might learn not to trust each other, or that group of individuals works together.
So find who you can trust, and then backstab them.
Yes. Does anyone here have any tips for players who are getting into Tabor to really grow that gun wall and really start collecting their loot without losing it on every extraction?
Yeah, pay attention to the tutorial. Yeah, that's really the biggest piece of advice I can give you. The tutorial right now is not very linear. It's more free explore, and I know a lot of people just hit the menu button and straight to safe house or market. I really think if you pay attention to what these guys have built in the tutorial, which will go to a more linear pathway soon, and will shut Proper D up so you can actually have fun in the tutorial with a button maybe. I think you'll really start to notice that we've included every key item and detail that you need to know is in that tutorial, even down to busting out the doors and the handles with shotguns or things like that, the breaking glass. So you'll start to see it more and more, and I think the tutorial will grow, but that's the best place for you to start and really go there and explore deeply. And you may eventually find something hidden. It's like a Terran tactical gun on a bench, and you don't even realize that's what it is. So you really have to look for a lot of things. And I feel like Short and I talked that about yesterday in the game. There's a lot of small little hidden things in the game as far as photos and everywhere in every map. So just pay attention in tutorial, please.
Yeah.
Stop asking us questions.
And another thing is also when you have a game like this, people often think of it as a shooter, but it is a survival game first. And if you die, you lose everything you have. So maybe don't shoot that much, you know? Do a little more stealth. If you don't think you can win, hide, right? The first priority is to get out alive so you can grow that gun wall.
I think you should take your approach slowly and just ease into it. Don't rush into things, especially if you're trying to conserve ammo and all that stuff that you need to do to maintain your gun wall, your ammo, your gunpowder, anything that you need to conserve. You just need to take the time to ease into it and only trust your friends. Trust no one. Literally trust no one. I'm the type of person who would shoot somebody if I met them, if they waved at me. So I'm just being honest.
Didn't you trust me one time in raid?
I trusted you. That's when I stopped.
Yeah.
Because I trusted you.
We really recommend, too, the first time you play the game, spend at least 2 hours in there. You know, get a really good first experience down. I think it'll really help you guys.
Just to follow up what Sol said, and people that are currently playing and the guys here that have played, when he's talking about conserve your ammo, conserve your powder, this is just the start. It's going to get much harder. Stuff is not going to be easy to find. We are going to make it difficult on you. And every single day I go into a map and I think, what can I take out that you know is there that you really love so I can just hurt you more? And so just know that we do that on a daily basis.
To build on that, whatever can be shared at this point, feel free to share. But beyond just finding your gear or killing players to get the gear, you, I believe, are also going to have very soon some horticulture and things like that. Could you dive into some of that?
I'll let Ray talk about that.
The horticulture? Oh, there's gonna be a lot of mechanics into the game. We're not even scratching the surface yet, and one part of me is a little saddened that the experience you'll get now is not the full experience. It's not the full vision that we all have, you know, that Scott set out to achieve from the beginning. And there's a lot of mechanics, a lot of player upgrades, a lot of safe house upgrades. You know, you'll have access to a lot of rooms. There's going to be a lot of activities for you to do to level up. A lot of activities involving certain recreational herbs as well, if that's what you're hinting at. And yes, there's still a lot more for players to come. So stay tuned.
Well, that's great because it means you won't have to always just rely on surviving to get your stuff. You can craft, you can grow, you can do whatever you need to do to make your character a success, it sounds like.
And speaking of crafting, Ghost of Tabor, we know, already has a very huge diversity of firearms that are available. And I know in the real world, people who are into firearms, that own firearms, they get a little creative with their customizations, right? What kind of pieces they want to put together, barrels, uppers, lowers, all this business. What kind of a Frankenstein weapon can I create when I get into Tabor? Can I get really creative?
So right now it really comes down to you can put a lot of flashlights, lasers. We saw someone somehow put flashlights and lasers in their backpack and create a smoke show in a video last night at the creators' dinner. But the idea for me is to get down all the way down to the guts of the weapon. I want you to be able to put competition triggers in, lighter triggers, so the less you pull, you know, you have to pull a lot less to get the gun to shoot. And I know it's a big job. Our modeler, Husky, who can't be here because he's overseas, has a lot of guns to remake from the ground up with every single internal piece you could think of, from bolts to barrels to different foregrips, charging handles, and it's coming. It is coming. It's just a really large task. And when you think about the scope of that, and we've developed this game, and what you see now in 11 months, it almost seems unthinkable that we could have done that when I remember it was just Ray. Ray was going to develop the game all by himself. He rose to the occasion when we first hired him. But where we're going is going to be so in-depth that you'll find yourself spending more and more time in Tabor every single patch. And I can say with this team here, even while we're in Orlando, we're patching. We're making bug fixes while we're here at the hotel, all of us hanging out, smoking cigars and laughing. So you can expect a lot of amazing things in every aspect, not just guns, to come.
Great answer.
So just to expand on that, but we talked a little bit about horticulture, and we've seen a lot of the real-world items you have, sort of like the one-shot energy chews and the Terran tactical weapons. Can you expand a little bit about the consumables in Tabor? Like, am I going to go out and get Monster Energy drinks and any kind of food I want, or is there going to be a limit? What can we expect to see out there?
So right now we have a bunch of different food items. So like we have different bars that you can get and eat. Right now we have a very big limit on different drinkables that you can get. We are planning on implementing a lot more different things that you can drink. So you can get different energy drinks to replenish your stamina at a cost of some other type of stat. So like if you're drinking an energy drink like the one-shot chews right now, they'll replenish your energy and take away some of your thirst, because whenever you drink like an energy drink or something, you get dehydrated. So all of our different food items, we try to keep it kind of realistic. Like we gamify it, of course, because we have to, but we're trying to make it so that you're not just, shoving 10,000 energy bars in your mouth and you're like, yep, I can go into 10,000 raids now and be A-okay. We want to try and make it so that you're eating as you're going and playing the game, and it's a part of your game loop. You have to keep in mind, I should bring some food with me. I should bring some water. If I want to replenish my stamina, I should bring an energy drink. We're trying to make it all a part of the game loop and just make it more unique.
So, I mean, going back to what Jonas had talked about, I mean, this is a survival game after all, right? So remember, pack your AK and some granola bars. Have a good time.
And all of the items so far in the game are, if I'm not mistaken, based on real companies.
Yeah. We had great success. Forge Relations, who does our PR, and Impact, who is here also, they do our PR. Thanks, Impact. Where you at? Can't see. There we are, right in the back. Forge, where are you guys at? I can't see you. There you are over there. Sorry, the lights are bright. They went out and they secured partnership deals with these guys. Like Guard Dog. I know Guard Dog Body Armor's here tonight. I believe that Blackout Coffee's here. One Shot sent chews in your bags. There's samples of the Ghost of Tabor One Shot chews in the bag. And they went out and secured these real world brands. Terran Tactical, the guy who made and host all the John Wick weapons. Like those are in our game, and it's insane to think that where we came from, that we were able to go to these brands and they were just like, they saw what we had and they were just pumped and excited to be a part of what we were making. And it's the same way with the community. We're just so excited. So you're going to see a lot more brands coming in. You'll see some more recognizable products. Freshen Up Energy just signed on for our energy drink. They're in the vending machines and the kiosk now for sale. And that flavor is going to be released in an actual purchasable can in the real world now. You can drink it. And we're doing something that hasn't been done in VR, and it's needed to happen for a while. And I'm very happy to say I'm doing it with these guys.
Right.
I'm going to jump in with another question here for everybody. Earlier we were talking a little bit about the sound design and whispering in-game. Does whispering make much of a difference, or is there any fall off to the microphone yet, or plans to obtain this?
Yeah, so currently it does attenuate your audio, and we wrote a custom occlusion system as well, for gunshots, voices, footsteps, anything like that. So yeah, to answer your question, it does attenuate based off distance and volume.
So in other words, folks, you can whisper and ideally won't be whispering too loud so that you get your friends killed.
So we just spent a little bit of time talking to a lot of content creators and talking about the kind of content they've been bringing out about Tabor and the kind of experiences they've been sharing. Duncan, you as a content creator, and also I think Brian as a content creator, what kind of content are you hoping to see from the YouTube community, from the TikTok community, from Tabor?
I always personally really enjoyed all the videos with any sort of unique social interactions. I mean, I think VR is absolutely primed for social interactions. It's just, it's what it's all about. You get to stand face to face, somebody else that you're playing, sharing a world with, and I love it when they share it. There's a lot of stuff to do in VR. There's a lot of stuff to share, and yeah, I just want to see all of that, really. Yeah.
I think for me is I like all of the informative and the comedic stuff, so I'm like all-rounder person. I'll pretty much watch anything, as long as it's in my ballpark, which VR in general is. I will watch it, and just watching people either help them, stab in the back, be funny. I'm all for it.
So serious and funny, or just crazy?
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, what kind of tips does everybody have here for players getting into Tabor now that we're moving it into beta? For folks who want to survive but also thrive, what kind of tips do we have to help our players eliminate their adversaries?
I think probably the most important thing to consider is, especially if you're used to other current VR shooter games that are out there, is to perhaps rethink your pace. The pace is very, very different. There's no sort of charging in and hoping to come out alive, because most likely you won't. So that would be the first thing that I consider anyway, definitely pace.
Yeah, a winning strategy too that's most of the top league players use is just get good.
Brilliant answer.
Shoot and move.
Shoot and move.
Just, again, take your time. Take your time going through raids. You have, what is it, 30 minutes for Silo, and then 45 for the island. You have so much time. Take your time walking through every place to scavenge.
Yeah, you don't need to sprint. Sprinting is loud. Don't.
I would also say be very prepared, right? Because you might kill everyone in the match, and then you come across Cure Tech at Silo, and you have no nerds left, no health, no ammo left, and you've just completely blown the opportunity as a result.
Wait, could you expand on that? Maybe who is Kirtek?
Kirtek is a boss that lives in Missile Silo. He and his goons roam around. They're fully armored. They have a mole mask based off a Chet cartoon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's a scary dude, and he can take a lot of rounds.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of lore behind all of this. Can you guys tease a little bit about the story of Tabor?
So Tabor, I mean, I can go into what the name was originally going to be, but then it got ruined by the current conflict. But it was supposed to be Ghost of Kiev. Oh. And it sort of would not vibe well if we did that, obviously. The next place that made the most sense, and I'm really glad that we chose it, is Tabor. My wife is actually from the Czech Republic, and I drew a lot of inspiration from her country of birth, because we went there, and I love it. And we just really dove like way down that hole of the environments and everything. Even down to our Phoenix, they are actually people that we know that are family friends, and they are doing the voice lines for us over in the Czech Republic. So I think Tabor, while it's a fictional place, it's a fictional country, it's a real place, and if you ever get a chance to go to the Czech Republic, you should definitely go check out Tabor. I love the Czech Republic. It's probably one of my favorite cities, and I'm extremely happy to know that we're getting a lot of our inspiration for the environments from such a beautiful and amazing place.
I'm going to ask you guys something here that I've been asked many a time. In Ghosts of Tabor, when you go to your safe house, there's a picture of a man sitting on your desk with your key cards. Could we find out a little bit about who this man is?
Yeah, that is my dear and probably best friend in the world, Jose Rivera. We called him Poppy. And we served together for many, many years. We came back from our service overseas together when it was just me and him. We're the only ones left communicating. And unfortunately, a few years back, my wife and I had to watch him pass away from cancer. So yeah, that was the easiest way for me to put some type of memory to where I know he would live. There's a great song, and I'm sure people all heard it, but when you die twice, when you pass away, and then when the last person speaks your name. And I just wanted to make sure that no matter whatever happens to me, people will always question who is that guy in that photo, and they will see his name on that plate. That was really it.
That's beautiful.
Thanks for making me get choked up, you dicks. Yeah.
Come on, pig. All right. Well, let's move on to accessories. And I'm talking not about the accessories that you're going to pick up in-game, but the accessories that you're going to use to play the game. So, you know, we talk about Tabor being a mil sim, a very realism-oriented game. And we know with simulations, people can get a little crazy in terms of the accessories that they buy. So people like flying simulators, they get their HOTAs. People who like driving simulators, they get their enormous screens and their pneumatic chairs. So in VR, what do you see happening? Like, what do you see people doing? Like, if money is no option, is no object, what's the maximum I can do for getting physical and getting crazy with accessories in Tabor?
Cat C2 treadmill.
The treadmill.
That is the coolest thing on the planet. Big shout out to those guys. I have one. Ray has one. I know JBar plays every time he plays on one, and it is amazing. Like, it is cool. B Haptics as well. If you compare those up together, you're going to have a hell of a time in any VR game you play.
And sweat a lot, I imagine.
Yeah, they're not cheap, and you need a pretty big space to put them. But you should definitely make that one of your goals of things to own in VR. The B Haptics vest, you know, it's very reasonably priced, and it doesn't take up any space. Right. And that changes the game completely. Ray was setting all of that up. He can tell you just getting shot and be able to feel it, and especially in Tabor where your health is real, and if you're getting shot in the side, you can feel that, and you have the opportunity to turn around and flick somebody in the face, shot him in the face, and try to get out alive. It helps out a lot. It's super immersive.
And what about gun stocks?
You talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, these that are on display here, I think, are a good example of what's going to be needed for a game like Ghost of Tabor. Because traditionally, I say traditionally, like so far, gun stocks have been a very sort of fixed structure and not particularly dexterous. They sort of lock you into your sort of gun posture, and off you go, point and shoot. But for Ghost of Tabor, it's definitely going to be requiring ambidextrous. You know, you need to be able to very quickly, I imagine, interact with the world, looting, climbing, you know, everything like that. So the gun stock design would have to be quite different. So this one that we've got on display here is actually just the back piece that rests on your shoulder. It potentially has a string that I believe that if you wanted to, so that, but at least it's more free. Are we allowed to talk about Mammut? Okay. I mean, we do actually have a stock that might actually be in development, which will solve a lot of these issues, and it will give you that dexterity, and it's particularly light, so hopefully it won't sort of hold you back, and it's exciting stuff. I mean, I'm going to be the first one to try one out. I'm super excited about that, and yeah, gun stocks are definitely going to be the way to go if you want to improve your aim, and this will also be one that will help you remain dexterous, and that's about it.
Well, let's shift gears back into the inner workings of Ghost of Tabor. Let's talk about the Tabor Marketplace. It's something that so far has blown me away. Can anybody speak to the way that players will be able to engage with the marketplace? Because there's a few ways.
Yeah, so right now we have these big kiosks that you have this touch screen that you can go and each trader will sell unique items. So like we have Spectre who sells you different guns and your gun attachments. And in the trader, you can go and get your gun, and in the actual marketplace itself, you can customize your gun. So you can put your magazine in it, put your laser on it, put your foregrip on, and then you can scan that custom gun. And then you can even favorite that gun, so when you get to your market or get to your bunker, you can go to your favorite screen and just quick buy those items. You can also just buy custom chest rigs with all your armor modules. So if you have a really good setup that you really love, you can just favorite that armor module or armor chest rig, and then you have your helmets. That you can the whole idea with the marketplace was to make it so that when you're going in, you can customize everything and get it into the place that is as easy for you to die, because you're going to die a lot, and just get right back in as fast as possible. Because we all know it's really annoying when you die and then you're just like, I don't got shit anymore. I need to go to the market. And when you're in the market, you're like, oh, I have to run to all these different traders. But with this favorite system, and then with the whole being able to customize it in the market, we're trying to make it as fast and simple as possible, with keeping the fun, like all the trader music and the atmosphere. We're just trying to make it a cool little environment to play in.
And eventually, as I understand it, there may be some player-to-player marketing?
Yes, there will be a player flea market that you'll be able to put up your items and get those items sold directly to another player. They'll be bidding on those items, and the player-to-player market will make a much more diverse ecosystem for a game and really help with the player culture. So if there's like a really cool gun that everyone wants, it could be super expensive on the player flea market, and it could be the thing that everyone's trying to work towards, and it's just a cool little feature. I think the player flea market is a must-have feature that we really are looking forward to making.
So you talked a little bit about the aspect of being able to favorite your guns and your gear for some convenience's sake. But you've also you've put in an insurance plan, so you can get insurance on your gear. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the insurance idea is, so if you're going into raid and you make your custom gun that you really love, you can buy insurance at a premium and be like, okay, so if no one takes this out of the raid, I can get it shipped back to my hideout. And the whole idea of this insurance is try to make it so that it's, again, that whole idea of like making it so when you die, it's not as big of a sting, but also so it's not just like duplicating the item. So if someone else were to kill you, take your gun and extract with it, that item is dead for you. You don't get it back. But if they were to leave it, you can get that back into your hideout and just keep going with that gun. You can insure a gun and really love this gun and have great memories with this gun. And then when someone steals it, you can have those memories
stolen away.
Yeah.
We partnered with a real company. It's a huge insurance company, and it's X Insurance. They're actually one of the big sponsors here tonight and helped us put this on along with some other people. And it's super cool to see an insurance company that is known throughout the United States and other places be like, hey, we want to be in your game. And we did it. So it's really cool to see that happening in the VR world, just like it does in the flat screen world.
It's very amazing. So I think right now we might want to open it up to the audience. Is there anybody out there who has a question for the team that they want to come on up to the microphones and grab a mic and ask your question? Hi.
Is it? There we go. Hold on. It's like in my notes. Give me a second. Oh, I just wanted to say I love the trailer. It was so hype, bro. I loved it. Okay. I was just gonna ask what would be the because you said it was like a big game. It's running Unreal Engine, so I was just gonna ask what the required memory and graphics card do you think is for the game?
Yeah, that's a great question. As long as you have something that's sufficient to run VR, you know, like an adequate NVIDIA or AMD graphics card, it's just like any other VR game, especially since it's built in Unreal Engine. It's very much scalable, so you can play it in the lowest settings, you know, or the highest to the epic settings. It really depends on your hardware.
Just go to it.
Right. So anything that's capable of running VR would be sufficient for our game.
I think there's guys right now that are actually playing. They have like 970s, so into their desktop, and they're playing the game. So yeah, you should be okay.
Okay. And my final question was, you said it's a big map as well, so that automatically got me thinking, like, is there gonna be like transportation, or like do you just have to like run, or like, you know, as you would suggest, walk everywhere you go?
You gotta hoof it, man. Sorry, I'm not a big fan of the vehicles, and the maps can only be a certain size, especially with our standalone units, with Quest headsets and Picos and stuff like that. So really making a giant map right now where we could have vehicles it's doable, but I feel like it would take a lot of the fun out of it, because while they are big, you can cover the map end to end on foot. But I would like to see like a PUBG style map one day. It's just massive, but while we're still, the technology's still getting there, and it's coming. And I'm really hoping that the Quest 3 brings a lot of that technology that we're waiting for.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you.
Excellent questions. And we've got another guest.
Hi, I'm just kind of curious about the flea market aspect, and would modding be allowed, like gun mods? Say you want to mod in like RoboCop's sidearm and stuff like that. Since you said there would be a flea market aspect, would 3D modelers be able to put in their own gun models at some point for sale?
Maybe, you know, we can always say maybe sometime in the future, but right now it's not on the roadmap. I just feel like there's enough games out there like Pavlov that allows you to do such cool things like that I really feel like it's beating a dead horse, and we want to bring a super unique experience to VR. And the most unique experience I've ever had in flat screen gaming was Escape from Tarkov. And I feel like it also opens us up to some potential issues, maybe on our back end and stuff like that I would prefer to not go down that road.
So I have a curiosity about the insurance system that you said that was in the game. I'm just curious, how real world will it be? Is there a way you can game the insurance system? Is there a way that you can use that to your advantage in some way?
Yeah, so we like to call it committing an insurance fraud. And if you have a favorite kit that you love so much, as Patrick said, and you kill someone that has an even cooler kit and you want it, you just take yours, and if you can find a body of water or somewhere that's out of bounds where people can't reach it due to landmines, you just throw it all over there, and they can't get it, and you take the kit that you just got, and 24 hours later or less, depending on your trader level, you get your gear back because you committed insurance fraud. So don't go commit insurance fraud. Yeah, so there are definitely ways that you can cheat the system in fun ways like that, and that's also inspired from Escape from Tarkov. You can commit insurance fraud all day there by just throwing stuff in water. It's fantastic.
All right, thank you.
So my question for you is with the flea market.
when you have missions from the vendors, are you able to go in and get, items for that mission to fulfill? Or will it notice the difference if it didn't come straight out of the raid?
So for missions, we really want to expand the mission system. Right now, it's just you get experience and then money for completing a mission for a trader. But one of the things that we really want to expand on is the idea of, Jerry wants you to collect a bunch of scrap and he'll craft a gun for you, or he wants you to bring him a bunch of different or like, let's say Hannah, she wants you to bring a bunch of empty nerds or something, and she could give you some filled nerds. It's just different ideas with each trader because they all are selling and doing unique things. So we want to try and make it so each one has some type of unique experience, and they will give you items back for completing quests. We even played around with the idea of you accept a quest and you get certain, like a kit to start with to do that quest if it's like a super difficult quest. So let's say you're doing this really big kill mission, because we have a lot of what they would say difficult missions. I think they're very feasible. But I've been told that my kill 25 players with the Makarov without dying is a little hard. But I think it is a fun experience for the player to get to 19 kills and then die and experience that great rage.
Hey, good evening, and thanks again for having all of us. This has been a fantastic event, and just kudos to the team for inviting all of us out here and for taking care of your own people, frankly, and bringing this remote team together to celebrate the launch of an awesome project. So two questions. First, Open Alpha has been running for about a week. What's been some of the major positive feedback, and then what's kind of a synopsis of the kind of critiques that you're seeing so far, and what's your response to the community in both both accounts?
I think the overwhelming response has been positivity from most of the people that played the game. And there is a lot of what people call jank and bugs. And with the stage that we're in 11 months and in an alpha, I think it's fully should be expected. But my message to the community, and I know every one of these guys echo it because we're working on it today while we're setting up the venue, is that every single thing that you see wrong will be fixed. This team has no plan on starting a project and leaving it unfinished. It's not my mission. That's not how I grew up and how I was trained. And what I live by. We're going to start the mission, we're going to finish the mission, and we don't see this being done for a couple years. Like we have a long-term plan and goal here, and along with other games in the pipeline that we want to play. So you're going to see Combat Waffle Studios around this scene for a really, really long time, and I think every single patch, which will probably be a few times a week starting and get a little slower as it goes on, you're going to see a lot of back-end updates that Jonas will be working night and day on, like he already has been. And you're just going to see the game get better and better. And we want to hear the feedback. We want the hate. We also want the positivity. But the hate really drives us and motivates us because we know that it's coming from a good place, that they want the game to be stellar. So keep bringing it to us and putting it in our doorstep.
Sure. And I appreciate a fantastic answer. And then unrelated but quick follow-up. You guys have been working on the game for about a year. I know the team grew quite a bit over that time, but a year is a heck of a turnaround to bring a game to market from an idea. And here you are on the cusp of it going into beta. People have already got their hands on it in an open alpha. How, that took a lot of effort. And last night when we were at dinner, I had dinner with Jonas. It was, fantastic conversation, great talking to you. But it was clear that a lot of hours, a lot of effort, a lot of heart have been poured into the project. How are you all feeling as it goes to launch? Is this, is it anxiety? Is it excitement? Is it, a combination thereof? What's the general mood across the team?
Yes. Yeah, it's very exciting. I think we're all a bit tired at this point, but the open alpha, big success, people are loving it. We're ready to put it out for the beta, and it's good for Steam, it's good for Meta. Everybody's ready. It's going to be good. And then I think we might, this is a small vacation for us, a few days after we have patched a lot of the bugs and the jank stuff. I think it might be time for a little longer vacation for some of the team members afterwards. Yeah.
Outstanding. Thanks.
Okay, I think we've got time for one more audience question.
What's up? What's up, guys? my question is, what are the chances of us seeing the Church of Fish come to the island of Tabor?
We put that in motion last night around the fire pit. It was already sent over to Sebastian, who is our amazing map maker. He couldn't be with us. He lives in Romania. He just couldn't make the trip. And the Church of Fish is coming to the island extremely soon.
And is there going to be a boss?
I would like to see that. I know Fish would.
Yes, that will be a boss.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for those questions, everybody. And right now, please give us a round of applause.
Let's get a round of applause. Great team.
So right now, we have a couple of awards to give out to a couple of wonderful content creators who have been spending a lot of time in Tabor and sharing their experiences with us.
So I think the first guy we're going to bring up, he's probably the best hoarder I've seen in the Ghost of Tabor yet. Can we bring up Z-Storm Gaming here for our Hoarder of the Year award? I have watched this man stack cans all day, every day, and I felt like there was nothing better than a stack of cans for you, sir. Thank you for the support since the beginning. I think I ran across you when you were playing, getting super mad, and came in and helped you. And ever since then, it's been up, buddy. I really appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you so much, brother. Give it up for Z-Storm. And I think the second guy has the most hours in GOT so far. Can we hear it up for Shortstack Gaming? Come on up here, Shortstack. He has, what is it, over 300 hours? 394 hours in an open alpha, and we found a pancake trophy.
No way. This is sick.
Thanks for everything, brother. We appreciate you so much. Got it. So the team took a big vote, and these are the guys that and there's been so many that we can talk about. Tribe and Controlled Pairs has been on our side since the start, and so many other content creators. I know Creeper Betty's here and other people, and the team took a vote, and these were the two guys that have been with us since the start, and they deserved it. Give them another round of applause, please.
So I have it on good authority that you should never, under any circumstances, trust Shortstack. If you see him in-game, shoot first, ask no questions. All right, so we just saw some great awards, and we've been talking a lot about winning in Ghosts of Tabor. And by winning, I'm talking about competition. So some of the people we talked with a little bit earlier, showed us their competitive side. What about Ghosts of Tabor can we expect in terms of the competitive scene? So when people want to get in there and get sweaty and compete for prizes, what can we be looking forward to? Scott?
We have an idea. I think the whole team has sat down and really looked at all of the games that are out there, and we want to bring, again, another unique experience to VR. And a favorite game, I think, that we sort of fall to is Hunt Showdown and the way they do some things. So we've taken a lot of inspiration from these guys, and it's not probably going to be this year. We have a lot of work to do. But at least early 2024, I would love to see a league hosted by Virtual Reality Esports League, which is a Tabor comp mode. And I would love to see a lot of these guys out here and girls that are playing team up with their buddies and just start shooting each other in the face and win some prizes for doing it.
Can you go into, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'd love to see that. I'd love to cast that.
Right. As you may or may not know, Pig and I are both casters for the VRL, so we are looking forward to that, of course. Can you maybe give a little more specifics about what kind of mode we can see or what the competition is going to look like?
I think we've all agreed it's still going to remain trios, and it'll be a very familiar, a circle shrinking kind of a thing, but it won't be an inner circle. It would actually be, if you completed an objective, take the map and slice it into a pizza, into the triangles. And as one team may be in this triangle or this sector completing something when they complete it, when they do that, that sector floods with gas, just that one sector, and it pushes them out. And the Phoenix AI, which will also be there, will also push out, all to a final point in the center of the map or somewhere on the map that you will not know, that'll just be triggered by you completing missions during the events. And that's all I really want to tell you for right now. But it's going to be cool. Me and Elijah have spent a lot of time, and Fish too. We've talked about this a lot. The whole team has been super involved, but we have so much to do. we're trying just not to let us distract that. And I just noticed you're wearing cowboy boots. That's beautiful.
Just bring a little attention to D for a second there.
So let's talk about the new map, Tabor Island. And could we talk about some of the diversification in the looting process that we're seeing in this new map? Because I know that there's a lot of folks who the only exposure they've had to the new map is in the video we just saw. What makes this amazingly beautiful map so unique for players?
I spent a lot of time with Elijah and others working on the loot system, and Patty actually created our loot spawning system, the random spawners, the boxes, the different stuff to place out. You could have items spawning on tables and worlds. And they've spent a lot of time perfecting these. And then I spent about a week going through and just adding loot spawns all through Island. And then we had to perfect it some more because things got deleted and things had to be re-added. And Tabor's different than Silo because you won't see a lot of stuff spawn in the open in Silo. It's meant to be kept in military crates because that's the type of facility it is. But when you go over to Island, you may just find a graphics card or like that purple key card that you got in your gift bags tonight. You may find that just sitting on a bench or on a chair. You never know where stuff is going to spawn there and what is going to spawn. There are no set item spawns except for maybe a couple, like a GPU spawn like somewhere. But it's all very random thanks to Big Brain Patty and his system that he built.
There's a lot to this map, and there's a lot to keep players hooked. What's some of the geographical details of the map? You know, what's some of the items in the map that players can expect to see? Because for one that I've seen so far that I think is amazing is the giant tower, the lighthouse overlooking the one of the most general spawn areas.
I really like the houses, different houses on the island. They all have a character. You go in throughout the rooms, and like there's a little kids' room painted pink with pictures on the wall and stuff like that. It's got character to it, and also the lab. I really like how grand the entrance is. Our map maker really, Sebastian, he really did a really good job on it, I think. Yeah, those are my favorite spots so far.
I really like the gore pit because it's the best place on the map.
We're learning a lot about Patty tonight.
Thought it was weird Patty never got angry.
Hey guys, can I interrupt real quick? I need to introduce you to a talented and hardworking student from the Film Master's degree here at Full Sail University. Tonight he's being awarded a scholarship of $5,000 from Combat Waffle Studios in partnership with Full Sail. His commitment to excellence and attention to detail have made him an invaluable member of the team, and his passion for broadcast engineering is evident in all that he does every single day here at Full Sail University. He has demonstrated a deep understanding of broadcast systems and commitment to innovation. His exceptional problem-solving skills and dedication to his craft have earned him recognition from his peers and teachers. We all wish him a great success in his future endeavors. Congratulations and best of luck on your exciting journey ahead. Please welcome to the stage, Brian Lynch. That's why this place that we chose to have this is so amazing, because they do stuff like this for their students, and we hope to continue doing this with Full Sail for a long time to come. This is a great venue and a great staff, and everybody we've encountered that has helped us out from the beginning has just been absolutely amazing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have been talking about Ghosts of Tabor, and we've been talking about it with the #1 resource available, the development team. Can we just hear one more round of applause for the amazing game, Ghosts of Tabor? Let's get down and start Tabor.
Fantastic job.
Really, guys, everything we've got here, I may talk the most and I may be the biggest a-hole in the world, as my paper said yesterday, but the best boss I think somebody wrote. This game wouldn't even be a fraction of what it is without every single one of these guys staying up, listening to me complain when things were broken, and literally taking their time away from their families. So thank every one of you. I love you all. You're amazing, and we're going to make the best game that VR's ever seen because of you. And thank you to my wife for putting up with me and my cranky ass a lot. I'm a very, very lucky man, as I know Ray is as well, for his wife putting up with everything too. So,
For sure. Definitely.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you all who are watching. Again, my name is Pig on PC and 4K.
And I'm Nutmeg.
And we sure appreciate you. Go sit to board, ladies and gentlemen.